Destroys our generation. I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind. I don't mind. Looking for inspiration in my life. Looking for inspiration all the time. Looking for, looking for, looking for, looking for. Hey!
Let's get ready to rumble!
Like, check. Uh-oh. Did it work? It did work. Okay, I think it did work. I think we're good. Yes, we're good. Alright, cool. I know I didn't mean to put that up on there. This is what I wanted to show. Yeah. That was definitely pretty appropriate there, I guess, as far as to play that there. I was monitoring all the dashboard there, I guess, as far as to make sure everything was running smooth before I 100% went live. And I think all goes well. We're going to keep an eye on it, but we're going to be crossing our fingers. We got the cross fingers emote out there, I guess, as far as to just to ensure ourselves. I need to move some things over here for a second. Let me move this over here. There we go. Had to shuffle some things around. Torch coming in with that. Sub. Let me double check here. Did it load in? Yes, it did. 31 months. Hello, all. Yes, 11 months in a row. 31 months. I know it's definitely probably been longer. Much, much longer than 31 months, as we know. Very much appreciated. Get all the hype in the chat if you got the emotes. Spam the emotes. If you don't have the emotes, exclamation point hype in the chat. Please and thank you. How is everybody doing today? So we just got through a little bit of a rain shower. I mean, it was super duper warm the last few days. Kind of hit the better part of 90 degrees today too, and got a little bit of a shower. Now it's really super duper muggy. Super duper muggy right now. But how is everybody else doing out there? Hope you all doing good. So I've got, as you can see on the screen, we do have some new updates for the Texas Motor Speedway build. There are still some things being worked on, probably even as we speak. I know Torch has mentioned to me, I guess, as far as post-fact of this, we'll have some additional things. And I'm going to point out, I guess, as far as some of those things that will probably be being worked on, I guess, as far as beyond what I'm going to show. But we haven't been able to show some of the progress of what's been going on with Texas here for a couple streams. We've been focusing mostly, as anybody that's been following the streams on Saturdays, is the Lacrosse Motor Speedway. So I think we got pretty much that turn 1 building, the pavilion, I guess as they call it, for the lacrosse track is pretty well buttoned up. I think it's maybe with some other minor tweaks, I guess, to it, but I think for the most part we can call that good to go. How did the moving go? I'm freaking sore. I'm just glad we got most of all that done before it rained. I don't think the rain's gonna last very long, but it was definitely good to see get that done, I guess, as far as before it rained, because that would have sucked. We had a lot of stuff outside. Got a majority of all this stuff. We got it all crammed in there. That's all we know. So it's just a matter of a few smaller things, I guess, that need to be gathered up, but that's about it, and should be good to go. Should be good to go. But yeah, I am definitely sore. I'm beat up. I'm kind of beat up, sore, or whatever from the heat. It did take me a nice, relaxing shower. This as far as before the start of stream. Not like y'all can smell that, but I mean, it's, you know, I want to be able to feel good, I guess, a little bit. You woke up around 1? Yeah, it sounds like a good sleep. What time do you go to bed, though? That's the better question. You stayed on too long farming? Oh, so you got... Okay, so did you go to bed shortly after, I guess, as far as you got off? Because I know you stayed on till, like... I know I zonked out, man. I freaking zonked out. It was just like... I think you got a good handle on it. Sure you handled it pretty good, so... I wasn't too worried, I guess, as far as that goes. I knew handle it well. Sorry, I wasn't able to stick around, I guess, as far as for the end of the stream. Just had to get up early. Just gotta admit. Yeah, you did as soon as you got off and went to bed. Yeah, I don't doubt it. I mean, 4 hours though. I know you were having some struggles, I guess, as far as with doing the farm and stuff. So just to kind of keep this thing screen rolling here, we want to make sure that it doesn't freeze up on us. I'm also keeping an eye on the up timer, just to make sure that we don't get any video freeze. I've turned a lot of things off, and reverted, I guess, as far as to things that I used before, as far as chatbot and so on. I'm just gonna see if possibly this might fix some things. I know I have been using, as I had mentioned, I guess as far as last week when we had a problem, the bot that I was using, which is all run more locally. I'm still using one relatively locally, but it's not as beefy, I guess, as far as file structure of it, if you will. The other bot that I was using locally, it's still being developed, I guess, as far as by an actual streamer. He does do a lot of Valorant and first-person shooter games like that, and he's slowly trying to build the database and so on for the build of this streamer bot for all platforms, pretty much. Twitch, well, what was Mixer, I guess what now is whatever they call it. But anyway, it's supposed to work, I guess, as far as with all that. So we've relayed, those like myself and others that have used it, like John Von Zombie, relayed the information, I guess, as far as to the guy that's putting this bot together, to help him understand, I guess, as far as what some of us streamers are dealing with, and to be able to correct it appropriately. I think it'll be a freaking great bot, because it's going to remove any necessity to have to be connected to such things like Stream Elements, Stream Labs, just to name a couple of outsources, I guess, as far as for overlays and alerts that pop up on the screen and things like that. These emote walls that you notice, we will not need to. If this gets streamlined, I guess, as far as to be, for all streamers, I guess, across all platforms, all streaming platforms, it'll be a phenomenal bot, because it can be run locally. You don't need to have it on a server. You can if you want to, I guess, as far as that's one of the other things that the developer is trying to work on, to see if it's viable, I guess, as far as to put it on a secured socket type of server, so that it can't be infiltrated and potentially like hacked, if you will. The whole idea for it was, as far as running it locally, was so it wouldn't get hacked, because it's going to be run locally. It's not going to be running on some random server out in Neverland that you don't have any access to, other than through a web interface. So it is a really cool concept, but the fact that it, some of the issues that I was having in the last couple of streams, does tend to hinge on the fact that that's probably a problem with that. So I reverted back to using the Streamlabs legacy bot, because we know that did work fine without the issues. So we're just going to see how this works, and keep an eye on it, and if we continue to have issues, then we'll work those out, I guess, as far as we go. But it's kind of panning around, I guess, as I'm flapping my gums, I guess, as far as the show. Some of the things that have been done to the Texas, there's quite a few. So, so many fantastic things done to this thing. Main focus I wanted to show you, I did already have it over here, has to do with shadows. I think Birch has done a phenomenal job on this, as far as no ambient occlusion. No ambient occlusion. This is all fabricated in his own way. And Torch can feel free, I guess, to elaborate on this as he so chooses. But from what I can tell, the way the construct of it is all manually fabricated. And I think it's without ambient occlusion. And here's the start of it right here. You can kind of see he's already updated. And I'm going to show the textures in their entirety, I guess, as far as the differences between what it was and what it is now. So this is where the shading starts in turn 1, for example, as far as how it's casted onto the, and it's still being worked on, keep in mind. So there is some shadowing on top of the foam here, as well as on the top of the safer itself, which is geometric out on the outer walls. Nothing's been done as of yet to the inner walls, which are all 3D modeled. So the same textures used on the for the outside foam blocks as well as in the inside. So that's kind of nice as far as how it's universal in that regard, so it's not independently. Another thing that has been updated on this as I'm going around here, and I've pointed this out last time I was able to show this, is all the welds for the back side of the safer have been aligned. If I can line it up with here, so you can see the weld as far as right along here. It goes all the way through on both sides, so it makes it seamless, if you will, I guess, as far as how this goes. So it's not staggered, missing, or anything like that. So again, the approach that we always take to this is to consider if we were to put a camera, if we were to put a camera shot on the fence here, say for example, what would that look like? And one of the other things that we did point out, I guess, as far as in the process of you know, observing these things, is the way the wall breathes, the geometric walls breathe, especially with the implementation of the 3D parts, which would be the foam. So we sometimes have to fudge, if you will, you know, a little bit of a deviation, or however you want to put it, I guess, as far as to compensate for how the walls breathe, I guess, in between that. So we either have to squeeze the geometric safer inwards or outwards to accommodate how much gap there would be between the 3D modeled pieces for the safer and the geometrics. That's just a little bit of a summary just as far as what's going on here. So if we see any of that going on in here, we can observe in the sim itself to see if it's the same exact thing. And if it's not, then we know it's either good or bad, and it needs to be adjusted each way. So far from what I'm seeing here, this is looking pretty good. We don't have any of the foam, the tips of the foam, for example, peeking through the actual safer wall. And again, as we go down all of this safer, I'm going to slow this down just a little bit. I think that's work. I'll slow down. Slow it down a bit. There we go. So you can see as we go along all the way through this, we have seams for the safer, and roughly these panels, they run about 8 foot long. Roughly about 8 foot long sections. So from one seam to the next is roughly about 8 foot from one seam to the next, as far as how they're pieced together around an actual track. So that's what they tend to represent. Depending on the different areas where we run into tech sags, as well as the segments of the track, will dictate, I guess, as far as where those seams will actually land, as far as the way the textures are actually applied to the geometric. So so you stole the foam block shadow idea from James? Yeah, I bet you. Yeah, and that's nothing wrong with that. Gold star, as James put on there. I mean, other ideas, and we've seen the looks of how the lacrosse speedway has been done. Keeping in mind, and James, feel free, please, I guess, as far as to elaborate on what I say here, majority of all that shading was done by ambient occlusion for lacrosse. So that's a little bit of the difference of what kind of result you can get based on using ambient occlusion as opposed to not. You can still get a pretty good result without using ambient occlusion, I guess is what I'm trying to say. So this is all like a fabricated manual creation, I guess, as far as of these shadows. And you can kind of get the idea, I guess, as far as it's more or less involves using the main fence texture to be able to apply that to the foam blocks where it's needed. So with all that being said, I don't want to get I'm just super stoked, I guess, as far as to be able to see progress, I guess, of this so far, and it's still being worked on as we speak. Let me show you, I guess, as far as the differences. So this is some of the new stuff that's either been brand new or updated. There's also this gate that I want to show here too. A lot of really cool stuff like that, I guess, to be able to show here. So some of the things that have been replaced are in this folder. So these are all the original files prior to the update. So I want to make that abundantly clear. So one of the files that has been updated is the styro block, the texture for the styro block. So this is the original file. I'm going to open this up with WinMip 2. This is what we use to open up our textures for that. I was doing some comparison, I guess, as far as to the Dover 19 build. This is the only reason why this is coming up here. A lot of really cool parallels between how that track was built from scratch as well as Texas, and the amount of time that's taken there. So I was kind of reminiscing a little bit myself there. That's part of the reason why that's up there. What I do want to do is go to Torch's folder here. Just got to navigate to it here real quick. Torch. And we need to go to his latest files, which is right here. We go with the place folder, and this styro block. This is the original file. If it's good, it's good, right there, Torch? I built the base scene with fully 3D safer concrete walls and rendered the shadows out. Okay, so that's still involving ambient occlusion, correct? Yeah, thanks for spraying there, Evan. Appreciate it. Yeah, at least you're getting the hang of that at first. Like if you're gonna scoot in here, then yes, AO. That's the clarification I was looking for. And again, I've shown that before with lacrosse, and you can see what the result of that was in comparison. No wrong way to go about it. It's just it's basically creator's preference, I guess, as far as get some GGs out there for spraying some. So anyway, here is the original. Here's the original styro block texture before any updates to it. You can see all the different elements that are used on that to be able to put the advertisement onto foam and singular foams and all that stuff. You can kind of get that sense. Now, if we open up the updated one, let's open that up here really quick while we're in Wimmet 2. So let's go to the new one. That is going to be this guy. But here's the new one. So you can already see right off the bat the dramatic change that has been applied to this. So the way the shadowing for the fence on the top of the foam has been applied directly to the texture. So not in the form of a light map, right? So this is one way to go about it, as opposed to doing ambient occlusion, for example. And you can see there's also additional shading that has been applied to the foam block itself, because it is inside of a cavity, I guess, between the geometric concrete and the steel panels. So it's going to be a little bit darker. And this is where it comes into what James had done, I guess, as far as with the lacrosse build, to kind of build that complete 3D model, I guess, as far as of the track, and do that with the shadows with the AO bake. This is all done fabricated. It's a fabricated shadow as opposed to not using AO bake. So look at the result you can get from that. It's pretty phenomenal if you think about it. And the dynamic of it, as far as how it looks, I guess, as far as when you apply it, it stands to reason. It's pretty darn good, if you ask me. Now, again, this is what I was talking about earlier as far as these gaps that we do witness, I guess, as far as between the concrete and the 3D foam. Part of the reason is that we'll check this in the sim. We'll get a chance to check this in the sim. But the fact that this is in here, these walls will breathe, I guess, as far as about that much more than likely, and it'll close that gap up there, so we won't have that. We'll be able to confirm whether or not that's the case or whatever once we go into the sim to actually see if that's the case. And if not, then obviously I need to have to adjust those accordingly so that they don't have a gap. So we can't net 100% go by what's in Sandbox, right? If you build it, I guess, as far as based on the 3D geometry, I guess, as far as going through the DAE, so on, bring it into Max, so on and so forth. You build it, the foam, I guess, as far as based on that trajectory, I guess, of that. If it doesn't show up properly in Sandbox itself, you got to take a look in the sim itself to make sure that it's presenting itself properly. That's just the nature of the beast when it comes to doing this type of application for 3D Safe Rickets, as far as in Ask Racing 2003. But yeah, we're just going to continue all the way through here. And as we continue to go around, you can see all the seams are lined up all the way throughout. RDKO. And so most of the shading that's on the foam on the outer walls is in 1 and 2. One of the things that has been updated, also, I haven't taken a look at this yet, so this is the first time I'm looking at this, I'll have to admit. So the medallion shadows. Well, now when I first look at this here, and I'm a little bit surprised, the fact that it's a little bit darker than what we see for the light map. So this here would be representative of a light map, as far as on the track itself. Now I can understand this can be very difficult, I guess, as far as to get this to match 100%. I'm going to take a look at this texture for the medallion shadows just to kind of get an idea of what's going on here. I think this could potentially be lightened up a little bit so that this blends in a little bit better. I know part of you would want to, in reality, I guess as far as to want to make it a little bit darker, a little bit more profound. This might be a bit much as I initially first look at this. So let's take a look at the medallion shadows. Before I bite my words here, before I chew on my words here. New files. So we got medallion shadows. Placed, remove. Okay, those are the two. Where's the medallion shadows at? Is that not a new one? I thought that was a new one. I guess maybe it wasn't. If nothing else, what I'll go do, go back this way. I thought that was a new file, and it may be something that needs to be adjusted. Maybe that's why we need to look at it. Alright, let's take a look at our edit folder and go to in our medallion shadows. At least I believe that's what it's called. This one right here. Okay, so based on the file date that I have on this, it hasn't been recently updated, so this is something that was already in there. Okay, so this is what we got for the medallion shadow. Now, I can already tell off the bat here, this can probably be lightened up. And maybe even go so far as to apply a little bit of a TI to it, to give it a little bit of transparency. You only got this one texture, right? So it's not like you're applying several different textures, I guess, as far as to accommodate that type of look, I guess, as far as from the medallion shadows. So I think you can get away with applying a TI or even lightening this up a little bit more so that it can match closer, I guess, as far as the light map that we see, whoops, right here. But I think from what I can see, that hasn't been updated as of yet, so I think that's something that could be adjusted still pretty easily. You think what happens when I adjusted the fence light map shadow and affected? Yeah, that's kind of what I was alluding to, I guess, Torch. So if there was any adjustments made to the light maps, the shadowing for the fence, obviously it's going to affect that. And based on the date of that texture for the medallion shadows, that seems to hold true, I guess, as far as what we say about that. So I think those can be adjusted. And like I was saying, the fact that it's only this one texture that's being used for all these medallion shadows, you may be able to get away with using a TI on this one, because it's no, I take that back. So this, yeah, as I look at this again, so the medallion shadows, it does actually have a 3DO for that. So it's a generic, yeah, here we go. Let me bring that over here. So on the medallion shadows, let's take a look at this a little bit closer. It does have a one-size-fits-all type of medallion shadow. Somewhat, I guess you could say. So there's a medallion set. Now these are the medallions itself that are in the actual wall. Shadows are right here. Let's take a look at this. I'm gonna open this up in 3D SimEd. This is gonna give you all an idea what these look like. These are probably built in place. Yes. Torch can confirm with me as far as, are these built in place? Obviously I'm not seeing anything loaded up in here, so I'm assuming these are built in place, you know, based on the track geometry. So we're not going to be able to see that. So if this is built into a model, let's just put it this way. If it's built into a model, you could build that transparency into that model so that if you apply a TI to that one texture for that, you can get some more opacity, I guess, as far as to that. Have more control over how that matches with the light map. I think that'll be an okay thing to do here at this point. More or less what you'd be doing is getting the light, this medallion shadow to 100% be the same parameter without being a light map, I guess, as far as the light map, if that makes sense. Yeah, so the way all these shadows actually land, I guess, on these the top of these walls and even over the medallion, look at this. So even as we look at the medallion, you got the shadowing on top of the medallion. So there's some of these medallion sets that have been redone to accommodate the shadowing on them. That's something else that's brand new that we haven't been able to see as up until right now. So other than, and I know Torch, you said you're already working on this as far as to add some of the shadowing onto this part of the safer. You can see that there's nothing on here yet. So to fix these types of areas, I know you already mentioned you're working on some of that, but also to fix these medallion shadows, like so that they match the light map. So one of two things can happen. Either you can attempt to lighten up the medallion shadows texture itself, or to be able to apply transparency to the model for that, and then in turn apply a TI, a transparent image, to that medallion shadow texture to help control, I guess, as far as that opacity of that. I would try the approach of just trying to lighten this up as much as you can to match, you know, where the light map is for the fencing, and see where that does, and then go from there. That should be pretty easy, actually, especially if you've got that already modeled.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Evan's ready to rumble. I know we'll probably be getting into the track here, I guess, as far as at some point here, to actually see what you know, we want to be able to see it in its elements, so we'll be able to check out spacing of the foam and all that stuff, see how everything fares, I guess, as far as once we go into the sim. I'm definitely looking forward to being able to get into it this time. I probably won't be doing a whole lot of 3D modeling today. That's probably fair to mention. I do have Max open, but from what I can tell here, there's really not much that I can see that we need to do, unless through the process of going through this, it requires it. I guess, if that makes sense. I know one of the things I do want to go over, I know something this is that Torch had sent to me, I guess, as far as there's still a problem with the way the one helicopter flies. And I'll probably go over that. That's for sure. It was cranked all the way up. What was cranked all the way up? What was cranked all the way up? Wait, what did I miss? Hold on. Oh, you finally turned down FB. Yeah. See, what I didn't understand, what the problem you were having when you were streaming last night with the farm sim, you didn't seem to mention anything when you were in there when I was streaming. You know, so when I was streaming for Farmer Friday, and you were in there, you didn't mention anything about that being an issue. So the fact that it seemed to all of a sudden come to be an issue, it's like, what? Did you figure out anything there, Evan? I guess as far as with getting the pedals, I guess, to be stationary. I know you're having a problem with them kind of moving away as you're. Is that brake pedal I think you were mentioning was very, very got a very stiff tension on it. You were having to, because of having to put so much pressure on that brake pedal, and I think in particular it was moving your full pedals. I know you're struggling with that a little bit too. So for anybody that doesn't know, Evan's been doing a little bit of firming. He's been helping me out, I guess, as far as on the Outhouse server. And he recently acquired a steering wheel, and it's a PlayStation, if I remember right. You know, you showed me a picture of it, so it is a PlayStation geared, so it's not like a G29 or 920 or anything like that. Still looks like a very solid wheel, but he was having some struggles with the force feedback last night, I guess, as far as when he was streaming some firming, I guess, as far as, and as he's mentioned in there, he's been able to figure that out. You're going to make something here in a bit. Nice. Yeah, I was streaming yesterday, but the fact that you didn't mention anything yesterday, I guess, about having those issues, and when you were streaming yourself, post-fact, as far as when I was streaming, I was like, what the heck? Oh, I wouldn't understand why you're having so many issues. It's like all of a sudden it kind of like cranked the force feedback up on you. Okay, so I think I've covered enough, I guess, as far as what's going on with the shadows. So you can see, I think this is really fantastic as far as the way all that fence, and this is all, you know, you can see how this is done. I'm going to look at the, forgot what texture it is for the medallions. I think they have their own texture. Got to look at that again. Medallion shadow. I think it uses signage, if I'm right. In fact, we can go in here and way we can check, just in case, you know, a little bit of summary. The way you can check as far as what texture is applied to any 3DO is to open it up in Notepad. like so. And right off the bat here, we can see it's soft wall inner for medallion set 1. I think these are the interior ones. Soft wall inner. Anyway, we can look at soft wall inner on that one. I think that is one of them that's updated, now that I think of it. Yep, it sure is. Soft wall inner is one of them. So we'll open that one. We'll take a look at that one next. We already looked at the updated soft wall styro block. So that's the individual blocks, right? And some of them do have advertising on them, as you can see. So some of them don't have any advertising on them, and they're mapped, you know, relatively in this area with that kind of top. Some of them do have the fence shadowing. So the way some of these foam blocks have been redone to accommodate the way this texture has been optimized, and the utilization of this one texture and to cover so many different things at once, that's fantastic. Instead of using like separate textures to, you know, to basically do all what you see in here. I mean, you can see all the stuff that's going on here. You can see the foam blocks that don't have any fence shadowing on it, ones that do, the ones that have advertising on them, the ones that don't. I mean, there's like 3 or 4 different things that are being accomplished by this one texture. That's just that's good stuff. So let's open up this soft wall inner. So this new texture for, we gotta go back this way. Go back to the updated stuff. Nope, not far enough. We gotta go back to, it's hard to believe at this point. So you can see this edit folder that I got here goes all the way back to July of 21, July 9th of 21, and we're already in May of 22. It just kind of goes to show you how long it's taken, I guess, to get it to this point. And granted, there's been some hiatus, I guess, as far as to, you know, get things back going again. You know, there has been some stoppage, I guess, as far as in, you know, things being worked on. But I think the proof is in the pudding, I guess, as far as it's more about quality than quantity, I guess, as far as the way I look at it. So this is the new texture. Right off the bat, I can already see what's been updated. You can see you've got the fencing, I guess, as far as that's been applied to. This is for the top of the medallion, I'm assuming. And Torch, feel free to elaborate on that. If I was to guess, without even looking at the wire map for this is where those medallions are mapped. The top of it, at least, anyway, is to be in this area. So if we look at the original texture before anything was updated, I can do it, and I'm trying to do it. I'm doing it! Yeah, you were fighting it so bad when I was rolling out the whole field? Right. Okay. Well, at least you got it figured out. That's the main thing. So let's open up this original file, which is this guy. I did separate these out. Like, we can make some comparisons here. So, yep, I was right. So here's the proof. So this is the original soft wall inner, and here's the new one. Well, why is that? I hate when they clip like that. Son of a biscuit, anyway. All right, let me close that. This is the new one. I'm gonna reopen that one. These textures are all clipping. I'm gonna get out of this one. It'll happen sometimes. The textures are kind of clipping into each other. I hate that when it happens. We already know what we need to do with that. So let's reopen the new soft wall inner again. Go back to that real quick. This guy. I'm gonna get to the soft wall gate here in a second. We're gonna go around a little bit and check everything else out there. That's a really cool feature too. All right, so here's the new one. Let's put it side by side, and you can get an idea of what's going on here. Main difference here, I can tell, is this area right here. This is brand new. And what that does, as we've already seen, that's what puts the fencing shadow on top of the medallions themselves. And those are a 3D piece. Those are a separate piece there, as far as those 3D medallions. And I really dig, I guess, as far as how Torch is taking the initiative, I guess, as far as to put that lip on that too. It's not just one solid medallion. Got that little bit of a lip on it. And that's what it is, the way it is in actuality. When you look at the actual medallions they put on there, these are kind of a bolted on piece, the top of the safer. So they can remove those independently. So without going so crazy detailed, I guess, as far as to actually apply those bolted straps or whatever, how they bolt those on to the top, you know, he's at least added that little added limited amount of details, put it that way. But it gives it a lot of oomph, you know, a little bit of this sticks out. It's so cool. All right, so we're gonna continue to go around the track. I don't want to beat this to death there. So what I'm noticing here is this top of the wall supposed to be red. That's the one difference that I see it. That's the only thing I see different here. So is this top here supposed to be red, or is it actually white? And if it is that way, then I'll leave it up to you. I know Torch has got plenty of picture reference, I guess, as far as to confirm whether or not how something is presented. I haven't seen it or actually looked at that in reality, I guess, as far as to come to that conclusion. That's the only thing I noticed right off the bat. Nope, it is white. Alright, cool. I will take your word on it. Like I said, I know you've got plenty of video coverage, and total confidence in the fact that you know what you're doing. Alright? So here's an example of some of the foam that does have advertising on them. So that is going back to that styroblock texture. This is how we're able to get the advertising on this. So this is a separate string of foam, whatever, that has that mapping for that area of that texture with some advertising on it. So that's how you accomplish that. So again, it comes down to, if you were to put a camera shot right here on the wall, what would that look like? And this is what a lot of NASCAR broadcasts have on them. Like, you got the cars going by there, and you got advertisement on the phone as the cars are going by. It's pretty freaking cool, man. That'd be a nice shot right here. Coming right into turn one. That's what I kind of picture right there. And you can do that too, as far as to set an actual camera there. Okay, so as we get into this spot, this is something that I know Torch had made a note of in his little write-up there, as far as what's going on with all these updates. One of the things that has been applied is a TSD light pole shadow, and I'm assuming that's these here. I'm going to take a look at that really quick here. So that's a new texture. Let's go ahead and close these since we know what's going on with those. This is really cool stuff. Alright, let's go ahead and open that new texture, which is this guy. See what's going on with that. So we do have a TI on this one. This is much the same thing that I was referring to do with this medallion shadow. You could add transparency, I guess, as far as to that model itself of the medallion shadows. This one right here is just in the form of TSD. This is what's called a track surface decal, for anybody that doesn't know. And that's just a texture that is applied to the actual race surface by itself with no model, other than using the geometry of the track to put that on, if that makes sense. So this one does have a TI. So you have a parent image that has a certain amount of color. So this is a really good example as far as what I've always trying to explain. You could probably use this same concept as with the TSD light shadow with this medallion shadow. That'd be a really good way to demonstrate, I guess, for how you could do that. To remove some of the darkness of how dark this one is still currently, as we've already seen. Okay, so where are these actually applied, Torch? Maybe you can clue us in a little bit, I guess, as far as where these are actually. I think you mentioned in the write-up, I guess, as far as in turns 1 and 2. Is there anywhere in specific? Or are they all the way through here like this? I'm going to take a look at this in the track itself as I await your turns 1 through 2. So are they applied right into the... I'm going to take a look at this right now just to confirm, but are they applied right to the banking of that? I want to see how you did this. So right now I'm in object placement view. I'm going to go into track surface decal view, and let's actually see what's going on here. You can already see some outlines here. I'm assuming these are it. Track, yep, there we go. TSD light shadow. Okay, so I'm really curious here, Torch. How are you able to get, without that, you know, because you got banking there, right? How are you able to get that to not float? We're going to check this in the sim to actually see how this works. Now, as we've come to find in the past, taking a TSD and being able to apply that to the track in this kind of fashion, a lot of times you'll get it to float where it doesn't, you know, lie nice and flat, I guess, as far as with the track surface. I'm going to be really interested to see, once we get into the sim, how these actually will respond. You know, being able to drive over it, how that looks. So, this is what we're seeing here. What I've got highlighted. It's still highlighted? Yeah, it is. This one's more in the apex of the corner. So we should see one highlighted here. Oh, we do not. Why is it not highlighted? Oh, there it is. It's because it's behind me, that's why. There we go. So this is one that's highlighted right here. So I'm going to move this, you know, without saving this PTF, just to give you all an idea of how this works. And like I was saying, part of the problem that we've always had in the past with TSDs, because it is just basically an image that is, you know, applied to an actual track surface. But when you have any type, when it's not 100% level, and you've got trajectory to it, like an angle to the geometry, it tends to want to either clip or float. So the fact that these are looking the way they do, with the way these are applied, I think that's pretty wild. So let's go here. I'm going to try to keep this camera in view. It's not going to let me do that. I already tell that. Let's do it this way. I'm going to go into properties of this here. I'm going to move it this way. Otherwise, if I try to drag it here, it's going to take my camera view out of the picture. So just to give you an idea how we can move this, and obviously this, I'm not going to save this PTF as I do this. I just want to prove how these work here. So you see how that's moving? So that's this texture that I have open here with the TI that's actually applied to the track surface there. And the fact that there is banking on this, you know, as far as where it's applied there, that's really surprising me how well that looks without any clipping or floating. That's been a huge problem, I guess, as far as that we've had in the past, I guess, of doing that way. This is looking pretty good so far as I look at this a little closer, because you're able, by doing it this way, instead of trying to line up a light map, you know, based on the fence, I think that's the way it was applied initially. And as we came to find that these light poles weren't 100% lined up with the actual placement of these poles. So this is one way to be able to to fix that problem, is to make a TSD just like this and apply it in the fashion that I showed. That's pretty great. So again, I'm not going to be saving this this particular PTF, so the fact that I moved that, it's not going to be too much of a detriment. Okay. Down the back struts also, noise. Some of them tried to clip out, zoomed in, and made minor movements to the right. Okay, so you did have somewhat of an issue of them clipping in that, but you're able to manipulate it, I guess, as far as to get them not do that. What's really going to be the true testament, I guess, as far as to how these are applied, is once we go into the sim, and how does it actually react with the car, or the cars, as we test that out there. So far, I think these are free. That's good stuff right now. That is really cool. Yeah, so the fact that all these are TSDs, these blend in really nice. These blend in really nice with the light map. So all this right here, as far as the fencing, that's all light map. So the difference between a light map and the way this is applied, and even the medallion shadows, is the light maps will only show if you've got the shadows turned on, as far as the options in the sim. So that's something to consider, I guess, as far as when you do that. So if you were to turn the shadows off, as far as from structures in the sim, you won't get these fence shadows, but you will still get all these fabricated shadows, like these TSD light poles, and also the fence shadowing on the foam, because those are all not a light map. right? So there is some consideration. Again, that might be a nice balance between being able to have maintain some of the shadows and not turn all the shadows off completely by turning off that options shadows from structures in the graphics options. That might be a nice balance between doing it this way as opposed to having it all in a light map and shutting them all off all at once, and that would just make it look really blah, in my opinion. See, that was the problem I was having with the medallion shadows. Gotcha. I think that's going back maybe a little ways. I remember you mentioning to me, I guess, as far as the problem you were having as far as the clipping, just like with these. You obviously figured some things out. With, working with those medallion shadows. So, again, you should be able to apply something in a similar fashion to the medallion shadows to get those to match the way these light pole shadows are. Look at how nice these line up, though. Pretty cool. That is super cool. I'm digging it. So yeah, all the way through 1 and 2. And then you got some more advertising on this foam in here. And we already explained, I guess, as far as how those are applied. I see a little bit of miscuing here, I guess, as far as with the safer one as far as the seams. So there's a little bit of a seam here, but there is actually a seam right here. So that might be a little bit off. Not that big of an issue, but I'm just saying, as I'm going around here on some of the things that I noticed. But this seam here obviously lines up perfect. And it can get extremely challenging just as far as to get a lot of these seams to line up 100% based on, there's a lot of factors. So based on where the track segment actually lands, where the next one starts, and how the tech seg from one tech seg of a geometric wall to the next segment in another one, all those line up. Sometimes they're going to be a little bit different, and sometimes you get these miscues here. As far as you see the top of the seam here, but yet there's one right here, and the fact that they are really close together. The other thing I do understand, I guess, as far as that, to get the proper number of O'Reillys going across the wall from one point to the next before it starts up another texture, so say for the turn 2. That's something else that's a challenge, I guess, as far as to get that, what you see in reality. So sometimes it's not going to be 100% reliable to fall exactly the way you would like it to. So you do have to fudge it a little bit. But if I know Torch well enough, as far as the amount of accuracy that he's applied to a lot of these things, it's very minuscule, I guess, as far as the differences between reality and what we actually see here. He gets it pretty spot on. And we're getting up to the point as we pan ourselves around here as far as one that's really spot on. I guess as far as that was like, it was a jaw dropper to me, I guess, as far as to get that amount of detail in there. I want to see take a little bit closer look, I guess, as far as how he actually applied that gate that's in the turn 3. We're gonna go down the back stretch. You can still see we got some shadowing on here. And it tends to maintain all the way through the back stretch. And again, we can see these light pole shadows, I guess, as far as to get these to line up much better. Yep, as far as the directionality of these in comparison to the light pole onto the ground. Some of these do tend to get a little bit darker, I think, in my opinion. It's not 100%. It's not like it doesn't really stand out, but you can really see them start to get a little bit darker as they get on this lighter asphalt in comparison to here. So that's the only other thing that I noticed. Don't forget the shadow on the ground for the Lone Star Tower. Oh, that's a good point. Good point. Almost missed that. Yeah, so that's why I tend to go a little bit slower, because I know I knew for sure I was probably going to miss plenty of things. That's why I was trying to go slow enough, because there's lots of things like that are going on here. So, a couple of different things that are going on here. You can see there is a shadow now for the Lone Star Hotel, and a couple of different things had to be done for that. So there is a 3DO for the shadow, as well as a texture, and then there was accommodations made to the outer ground for this one as well, if I do understand right. Let me look at a little bit closer in our updated files. Those are replaced files. So our new files, we got a Lone Star shadow and a texture for it. And so let's open this up in 3D Sim Ed so we can see it from this this way. So you can see there's the shadow for the Lone Star, and that's in the form of a 3DO with its own texture, right? And he also, so as I look at this, I can see you probably cut out from the outer ground to accommodate this piece. So really all you're doing is taking a chunk out of that outer ground, and we're going to take a look at the outer ground here in a second. You probably took that chunk out of there and then just used that piece to make the shadowing, the mapping for the shadowing of that. That's pretty smart. So instead of making a totally separate shadow piece, 3D modeled piece, and putting that over the top of another model, that would be a no-no in my opinion. That's what I'm assuming what you did here. So that's I'm going to take a look at this here. So that's looking at the shadow from that thing. It looks like you just took a cutout of the original outer ground. Here's the outer ground. And I don't have the texture in here for that, but I think you can get the idea. So the Lone Star shadow would be right in this area. So I can already tell by looking at this without even having the texture. You can see that's where you cut that out. That's where you cut that out. That's pretty, yeah, that's smart. I like that. You know, and like I said, instead of taking a totally separate piece and putting that over top an existing model, you cut that piece out to be able to apply that mapping for the shadow of that Lone Star Tower. And then, so you're still using the same amount of polys as you were originally. You just got two separate pieces now. So it's still the same amount of polys in total for that, but it's just a separate piece to be able to put that shadowing onto that. That's free. So you're starting to get it. Hopefully, there's some notes that some would-be novice modelers could take from this, as far as that goes. Yeah. But I could already tell just by looking at that, even without having the texture on it, that's exactly what you did. So it's how we say the Padawan has become the teacher. Yeah. That's pretty good stuff. Now, the only other thing, I guess, with this that I notice, and this might be, you know, getting really nitpicky, I guess, as far as with it, the fact that there's no shadow on the actual backside of the wall. Again, it might be a little bit nitpicky, but, you know, if you really wanted to follow the shadow through, I guess as far as onto the wall, at least onto the backside, is what I would consider. How you would accomplish that'd be a little bit tricky. You might be able to, possibly, depending on how these track segments go, you might be able to take just a simple light map, you know, nothing fancy, you know, just something that has some, you know, something similar to like the medallion shadow type of concept, taking or even the light map for the fencing, and be able to apply that to the backside, so you have that little bit of, so you're still going to see the wall texture, right? But then be able to control where it start and stop based on the shadow of this 3D model piece. It's just something to think about. I don't think it would be a detriment if you did or did not apply it. I think it would just add to the overall effect of that. To have that shadow cast onto the backside of that wall. That would be really cool. I think it even looks cool just like it is, to be honest. Because when you're on trackside, you know, especially if you put a camera angle, again, it all comes down to, you know, if you were to put a camera, say like up on one of these balconies for the, you know, for the Lone Star, you'd definitely be able to see that difference, right? That's the only reason why I mentioned that. So again, it comes down to a really good concept, but it might have gotten away a little bit as far as like, shoot, you know, do I necessarily go that far too? Tried that and it was not working. Okay, so you obviously did try it. So again, I don't think it would be, you know, it's not terrible. Not terrible at all. I think it's a really cool idea, I guess, as far as to add as much detail as you can. Yeah, so just as I was saying, if it came down to if the tech segs for either the geometric walls or the track segments themselves aren't going to accommodate for you to be able to stop it where you would need to, as far as the light map on the back of that, that'd be understandable. And to eliminate the necessity to have to split the track up to be able to accommodate that. That's the common problem that we see for novice track builders, as far as just want to split it up to be able to force it to land where you want it to. Don't ever do that. Once you get your track built and it's racing the way you want it to race, don't touch it. Leave it alone. Because that's all you're going to do is break it beyond repair. Alright, so as we go down here, we're going through the backstretch coming out of turn 2. I feel like somewhat commentating this a little bit. Alright, so down the backstretch, again, we can see the shadows for the light poles, which are all independent now. And that would be my only other issue with that, maybe to make these a little bit lighter. Maybe a separate texture to make these a little bit lighter. That would be, and again, I don't think it'll make or break it. I guess, as far as that. I just feel these are a little too dark. The shadow itself. So it may or may not require, I guess, as far as a little bit of adjustment on these ones on the backstretch where the asphalt's lighter in comparison to where it's darker. Where it's darker, it looks freaking perfect, in my opinion. But the way it looks here, because as far as it being a little bit darker than the light map on this lighter texture, that's what kind of, it stands out. It's very noticeable. Alright, so we don't have, yes, we do have some shadowing on the backstretch. The Torch already mentioned that. So we got the same thing is evident here all the way through here. We're getting up to the next really goody two-shoe part here. Coming up to turn 3, we can see all this shadowing still continuing on the outside wall, at least. So right coming up here in turn 3 is our next really good tidbit here. This gate. So the fact that he's got this lined up right with it, the way it is in reality, with this tunnel that's right here on turn 3. And we got picture reference for this too. Definitely want to show this. So we got picture reference for this to conclude, I guess, as far as exactly how this is and where it's at and so on. Let's go into here, and we got a picture. Where was that bad boy? So here's the real gate. So that's what this is what we're seeing here, and he's got a comparison of this too. So this is the actual picture reference at the actual track. So this is the cars coming down the backstretch into turn 3. You can 100% see the fact that that does have that right here. So let's put this into perspective here. Torch has already taken the liberty of doing this too, but I'm going to do this myself here. So that's the gate that we see in reality. And then there's also, we'll open the side-by-side comparison here. I thought this was really sneaky, I guess, as far as the way Torch had done this. So here is comparison. This is the one you actually applied. This is the one that actually is there. And actually, when I look at this one here, I think you might have did some more modification to it to have the beams going through there. So this one here looks like it might be not quite finished, but you get the idea of how that foam is getting revealed with the straps of the safer. See that all right there. Yeah, let me look at this a little closer. Yeah, you've got this. As I look at it this way, you must have did some refine. Oh, I see what it's doing. So it does kind of clip away. I see how you did that. So depending on what angle you look at it, it's just that thin. So the fact that we're going on a down trajectory here, you can't see the top of that plane for that. And I don't think that's not that big a deal. If you were to put a camera angle, and I think we do have a camera angle here if I'm not mistaken. And if not, we could. That wouldn't be too hard to do, to actually put a camera angle just like this picture was taken in reality, to be able to show that off. Something else that I do notice that we don't have in here are these more modern Wayland lights. These aren't in there. Well, we do have the these old school type of track condition lights. And the only track condition that Texas in particular tends to show is just yellow. It's only the yellow condition. So, but the fact that we do have these lights, but we don't have these. Again, it's probably one of those things that's probably not a huge detriment, but may behoove us. So, do we have these in the wrong spot? So it looks to me, if I look at this picture, this needs to be this way. Let me look at this again. Yeah, so that looks like that light is actually ahead of that gate. So that might be a little bit of misplacement that we've got for these lights. That might be another adjustment we'll have to make, which can be easily done. That wouldn't be hard to do. Yeah, so the way I'm looking at it in this picture, this light that we do have in the track should be ahead of this gate. So we've got it after the gate. So it may come down to where these might need to get adjusted too, as far as these markers. Let me take a closer look at that. Yeah, so the fact that we've got 3, 2, 1, it's really hard to tell, I guess, as far as where the distance between this last one, where that is, just before the gate. I don't know what that space is between where this starts and where these are. That's the only thing that's really hard to determine. But we can definitely tell all of that is ahead of this gate. That's for sure. That we can be assured. And so we might have this, we have to shift these down just a little bit. You know, as far as to get this light to be just like where this placard is, and shift all those down accordingly. You know, in sequence. So keep them relatively the same amount of spacing as you have. Just shift them down like a hole or two. Make sure that it's ahead of this gate. Right? I think that's the only other. That would be simple. I think these, if I'm not mistaken, these are all independent placards as well as that light, as far as that track condition light. Those are all independent pieces. I think that can be easily adjusted, I believe. In fact, let's take a closer look at that. Let's take a closer look at that, shall we? Let's zoom in on. I don't know if we'll be able to select it this way. We're going to see what we got here. So there's the gate. Clearly see that even from above. I want to take a closer look at how that's actually done. Evan's got himself 115 hours. Holy mackerel. Got himself back up to 13,079 units of fluid. Ah, fluids. Yes, did you get yourself a shot? You think I'm going to miss that? Good thing the bot is working that way. Yeah, you did. And you got... Oh, you just played slots. Okay. You can give yourself a shot, too. Feel free to do that. Those are at a premium. Just keep that in mind. I do want to take a closer look at how you did this piece here, though. So that's the TSD light. So this is all a modeled piece. Let me see. I wanted to first take a look at these placards here. So these are independent, I believe. They are... I can't select them that way. Let's go into our items list. Oh, I'm in track. Okay, I gotta go to object placement view. That's probably one reason why I can't select it. So yeah, now that we're in track object placement views, now we can select those. So these are those individual countdown placards, if you want to call those. Or is it 3, 2, 1? Those would need to get. Yeah, those are all individual pieces there, right? So you could shift those down pretty easily. First down, maybe down to here. So start the 3, 2, then 1, then we can put the light basically right there. That way it'll be ahead of that. You know, just really minor adjustments, really. Whereas now that we're looking at this a little bit closer. Okay, one thing I'm noticing, again, you can see where that model piece is. The fact that this star is a little bit darker than this one. It kind of stands out a little bit. Let's take a closer look at the actual model and the texture. Now that we're looking at these things. Let's see. So you've got... Where's the gate? I know it's all one piece. So here's the texture. Okay, let's open that up in WinMap 2. Alright, we already looked at these. We already know what's going on with those. You know what potentially be corrected, I guess, with the medallion shadow. Yeah, I would definitely make it more accurate too. Yes. You You know, the fact that we're going as far as we are with this thing, you know, and we got as much adjustability in these types of things, if you didn't adjust it to make it more accurate, then why even doing it? I guess that's the way I look at it. So let's take a look at the softwall gate. Here's the texture for it. For the macro. Yeah, so this could probably be adjusted to match. Might be a little too bright on this star. Right? So that's initially what I see. And that can be adjusted, I'm sure. So that it matches more like this star. So if we look at the softwall star, that should be in the track mat. Let's take a look at that one. I believe that's going to be, I don't know exactly what the name is, but let's take a look at the track mat. That would be a track mat texture. Back this way. And go to our edit folder. Go into this and then the track mat. That should be the names of these. There's not, this is all the track mat files. So as far as track texture self, soft walls, walls, grass, this is all you have. You got the PJ1 fence. Very limited in the track mat folder. Majority of the textures that you have, because a lot of it's all scratch built, is all in the folder. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that. I find it really balanced against as far as, because a lot of the older builds, you know, as far as the original tracks that Papyrus had done, it was the opposite. You had a lot more textures in the track mat and not as much in the root folder. Now it's just kind of really flipping around is about all. Alright, so the texture for Texas Star, let me look at this one. So there's your difference right there. And now that I look at it this way, you can really see how much more darkness that you have to put on the model piece as opposed to the track mat or the geometric, right? But I think there could be a little bit more adjustment there to make that star just a little bit darker. That'll match what's going on with the. And I know that's a pain in the butt. I absolutely understand that pain, but it definitely stands out. Let me go back to the camera view. It definitely stands out. It almost looks like this one's kind of like lit up, reflective. As far as the overall look of it, great concept. I'm gonna look at the actual model for this too. So the way it's modeled there, you can, unless you're really looking, you can't even tell that's a model piece. Much the same as the way it is on the interior walls. Okay. No, so it's not so much I can do it, but you can do it, right? Yeah. So all I'm seeing right now so far is very, very minor adjustments. Cool concept. I think a lot of really cool ideas that you've got, I guess, as far as to make this track even better than it already is. That's why I have a lot of fun showing this off. So let's take a look at the actual model for this. Okay, we already looked at that. Close this out. Alright. Let's take a look at the actual model of this gate. So let's open that up right here. I'm gonna open it up right in the updated. So I can either do it from the edited folder. So this is built in place, as a lot of the models are for this build. And by being built in place, you had the track, the model of the track within Max, in 3ds Max, and modeled the model, you know, in this case the softwall gate, right in place. So it's all set at 0. Right? Nothing wrong with that. That's just my initial observation here. So let's zoom in on this. So here's the model piece. See what's going on with that. Look at that. So the fact that it actually narrows on one end, and you actually have the cap for the other part of the wall where it opens up on the other. That's what makes the split. And the fact that this lines up with the geometrics of the actual so this model piece lines up with the geometric without any clipping or tearing, from what I can tell. And again, these are some of the things that we're going to be checking out in the sim itself to see how this actually looks. So the way I look at it this way so far, you can't even tell. Can't even tell. That's pretty freaking cool. No gap in it whatsoever. So other than the star kind of being a little bit brighter and standing out in that fashion, I'm not seeing... I can't tell where the geometric wall ends and where that model starts. Yeah, that's pretty good. So at least from the sandbox standpoint, once we get in the sim, it might be a different story. But that's my initial observation there. That's some good stuff. So we got more shading as far as in this turn 3 on the foam as well as the safer. I mean, you've already shown how that's been applied, I guess, as far as the use of that texture. So it tends to fade out going into turn 3. And if I'm missing anything as I'm doing this through Torch, definitely call me out on it. I definitely feel I'm a... So now we're getting back into some of the foam, some of the medallions that don't have shadow on them. So all the way through turns 1 and 2 down the backstretch, and it tends to fade going into turn 3. You get that idea of where the direction of the sun is coming from, which is relatively from the turn 1, 2 end. So it's coming relatively from that direction. So as it reaches this side of the track, obviously the shadows are going to shift from one way to the other. So now the shadows are like casting out, I guess, as far as to the outside of the track over on this end. That's pretty damn good attention to detail, if you ask me. We got some more advertising on the medallions as well as the foam. We do have... We spent a whole entire stream, and that was quite a few streams ago, just perfecting the position of this camera coming out of turn 3. To be able to get the cars coming out of turn 3. And it's a fixed camera. So it kind of... So to get rid of any clipping and just have it be kind of just like that. See the cars coming into turn 3. And then pan over, I guess, as far as coming out of turn 4. Yeah, we spent like the better part of a whole stream just perfecting that camera. And it was time well spent because it's a phenomenal shot in my opinion. To not only be able to show off, I guess, as far as all the detail that's in the foam, but just that angle, as far as the cars, coming into that corner, and to get to see the animation going on with the video screen. Now you've got all this other added detail, I guess, as far as beyond that. This is good stuff. It was a trick, yeah. As far as I might have missed, I guess, as far as when you said that, but that might be going back to the gate itself. That gate, that's a really nice added touch to that. And you didn't have to split the track. That's probably another point to make on this. You didn't have to split the track to accommodate that, right? So let's take an even closer look at this, right? So what you did, more than likely, and we've shown this before a little bit, so there might be a little bit of summary. Let's go back into let's go into the geometry view here for a second. So you still have the collision here. So it's all within this one segment. At the very head of this one segment is where this gate's at, right? So you did not find any reason to have to split that at all to accommodate that. So more than likely what you did, and I'm going to take a look at this a little closer on this wall segment, is made it invisible on the first part so that you can make room, I guess, as far as for this model, and then start that up at, beyond that. So let's take a look at the properties of this wall section. And let's go to left walls. See how there's no texture on it on this first text segment? Now if we skip it to the next one, now we've got texture. So what Torch has done here, this is the trick. This is a little bit of the trick of the trade. You still got the collision here for the W section, right? So this is where you can get that collidable property, be it the fact that it's a 3D model that doesn't have collision. So you've got that extra added benefit there. But the way he started this texture off is to make it invisible, so there's nothing that shows up until 5.75 meters out. So not until probably about this point. Then the texture for the geometric continues beyond that model piece. That's basically what's going on with that. So that's how you can work with text segs within a W section to accommodate putting a modeled piece into that spot. This is how you're able to marry the geometric with the model pieces very easily, mind you. That's pretty tricky. Yeah, so that's just taking a little bit closer look, I guess, as far as how things like this are applied. I don't think I could have done that any better myself, to be perfectly honest. So yeah, what I'm really appreciating is, as far as the fact, as well as everybody else should, you did not find it necessary to have to split that segment to make that happen. So without breaking the track, as far as, you know, to split that up there and go on from there, that's good stuff. All right, I'll get off that now. I mean, that's just good stuff. I don't know how else to put it. So the fact that going back, you know, maybe even a little bit further, this was done previously, because as far as to add this is all modeled on these interior walls, and it's very hard to discern, but much the same type of thing has been done on this inside wall, inside safer, much the same as at this gate. I'd imagine things that you've done for other parts of the track, you've been able to apply to other parts of the track. So you've got that one there, and I think you've even got one over here. Now over here you put a little bit less detail, because you're probably not going to see this one as much, right? Let alone the fact that it's kind of an angled piece here. Might be a little bit tougher. It doesn't take away from it. This is the only point that I'm trying to make. You probably wouldn't necessarily put a camera angle right there, you know, to see that, but the fact that you've got this all modeled in here as opposed to geometric, if you did want to put a camera, say like right here, nothing wrong with that. And that star really does stand out, doesn't it? Yeah, and it can be adjusted by texture. We know that. We know that. But holy crap! I mean, this thing is just coming together really nice, I feel. So we're continuing our trek, I guess, as far as going to turn 3, apex of turn 3 here. We go back and reminisce a little bit as far as how this applique between this one and this one were applied. Obviously, there was a little bit of a problem being able to get, you know, having that 16 tech seg limit on any one segment of track, regardless of how big it is. Kind of ran into that problem, but we're able to work that problem, and we got this result. I should say Torch got this result. Man, you can really get the sense of banking on this. Look at this. We're already on the apron of the track. Look how freaking steep that is in comparison to turns 1 and 2. Telling you. I don't know if there's anything in there, and again, if there's anything that I'm missing as I pan through this here, Torch, definitely feel free to call me out on it. I'm going to stop it right here for a second as I say that, and let's take a look in here. So I think a majority of, so you got inner backstretch, these model pieces. What are we missing on the inner backstretch? Let me go back there a little bit. What was going on with those? Yeah, so what those relate to are these over on the back stretch here. Let's go back here a little bit. So you did a new light pole 3D model turn 1 just outside of the track. Oh, you did. Cool. Well, is it a light emitting one? A new light pole 3D model. Is it a light emitting one? Probably fair mention there. Is that in the list? Let me double check. So is there? Where it at? Or are you still in the process of making that? I don't see that in my list here. But is it a light pole? I'm not seeing it. So I got another. I'm gonna get into this how to adjust this helipad. So those that have been following the progress of that. Of this build, you've noticed the helicopter that's going off from the infield tends to fly kind of sideways. But we're gonna try and fix that. Yeah. Oh, just a shadow. Oh, a shadow. Got you. I guess I misread that. So there is an actual model. Pole shad turn 1. Okay, this dude. All right. Let's open this up here real quick. This is probably built in place too. So it's in turn 1. Okay, so that's built in place. Go ahead and close this here. Guess we might have overlooked that. I want to look on the backstretch here again. I noticed you got some pieces in here on the backstretch. Maybe you can clue us in on what's going on in the backstretch inner. So it was just the foam, was it? Let me look at this here. So we've got soft wall inner. Okay, I gotcha. So let me open this up. So this is to accommodate the new texture for foam block and all that stuff, I'd imagine. These are all built in place. Where it at? Where it at? I see it. There it is. Right now. Can't overdo it. There it is. So yeah, this is all a model piece. This is the backstretch safer. So what was changed on this torch? Was it just the mapping of the welds? Is that what it was? All it was? I know that was something else that was redone too. I should probably have mentioned that. So the fact that all the safer that's in on the interior is all modeled. It does have that geometric property to it to have the collision, so you don't go driving through it. But it's all modeled. That's, you know, so as we look at this, we can see detail in that from this perspective. Let's take a look at it from Sandbox. So that's basically looking at, I think that's going to be looking at, from the camera. That's going to be looking at this piece down here. What I've got open there. So one of the things Torch had to do was, you know, to get the seams to line up on the inner walls, because it's all modeled. That was a separate process, I guess, as far as doing the geometric on the outside walls. But the fact that the seams on both inside and outside now do line up, so you can see that seam all the way through. So it's roughly, I want to say, in this area, right? I think that's roughly, but just to kind of give you an idea, at least anyway. So all these, I don't know how many pieces there are. How many pieces were there? There's like 5 pieces. Yep. So, well, actually, what, 4 pieces? So you got turn 4, backstretch turn 4. Okay, I got you. I see how you did that. So it's basically like 5 pieces that you've making those parts of the inner wall. But to get those seams to line up properly, I guess, as far as that's what you've had to do. Full backstretch, nice. Remap to line up the wells, right? Right. So just to reiterate, I guess, as far as the write-ups that you did, especially with this latest update, Torch, and to definitely take some bookkeeping in the organization, I guess, of the files. So the fact that all the stuff that you sent me and everything that we've been working on, and the fact that we've had a little bit of a break, at least I have, with getting some updated files since, you know, for a while. The fact that what you sent to me and what we've purged out and added back in, and still not have a problem being able to load the track, that's pretty great. The only problem that we ran into, just for anybody else's clarification, and Torch can feel free to elaborate as well. The only problem that I ran into with the latest updates as of late was, I think it was a texture. No, I had the texture, but it was the wrong texture. That was applied to, like, say, the backside of the safer. That was it. That was it. So even with everything that's been going on with the track, as far as like that, it's very good record keeping, very good organization of it, and keeping track of what's going on with the build. As far as like, this has been removed, this has been added, you know, chunk that out, put this back in. You know, now you've got it down to a point where it's very streamlined, I guess, as far as to be, you know what you got, I guess, as far as to what you're gonna have to pack. And with that being said, it equates to around 100 megabytes, maybe a little bit less. So overall for the track, so this is all I've got in the track edit folder. This is to exclude the track INI, track shot, stuff like that, which are, you know, relatively small in comparison, I guess, as far as to the bulk of the track build itself. So just in this track edit folder, which would more or less be packed up into a DAT file, that includes all the 3DOs, MIPS for those related 3DOs, and the track mat, which is very small, as I've already pointed out. This whole folder right here that we're looking at. Now, I got a couple of other PTFs in here, which are, they're not that small. That's not even a huge factor, I guess, as far as this. But this will give you somewhat of an idea of how much is in this folder. So when we look at the properties of it, 70's not even, just barely 75 megabyte. On top of the fact you'll end up having to DAT it. So it's probably going to be even smaller than that. So all the detail that's in this thing, and it's well under 100 megabytes. That's about as streamlined and optimized and every which way that you can call it that you can get. I mean, it's just that's just cool stuff. So regardless of how many files that are in it, you have to consider how much. That doesn't really give you it doesn't really give you a true number, I guess, as far as the poly weight to it, right? You have to really consider, I guess, as far as each item in its own right, I guess, as far as how much poly weight is to it. So some of these items, like the foam blocks, for example, the number of polys that exist in one foam to include, I guess, as far as each segment, right? You have to look at it from in its entirety, as far as how much of few poly weight that you have in each one of them. And I think that's the key thing. And I think that's what makes this track very well optimized to run it on any mod that you want with the simulation. It's good stuff. All right, so anyway, that gives you a little bit of clarification and a little bit of history and catch up, I guess, as far as on what, where the track is, where the track started, where it is, and what still need to be adjusted. And it's very minimal stuff as far as I'm concerned. Very minimal stuff. And I know Torch has been very much on the I just want to get this done type of mode, and I get it. I think it really, at this point, even with the minor, considering the minor adjustments to it, some of these things you wouldn't even really have to do if you didn't want to, and it still wouldn't take away from the track. Again, just in my opinion. But some of these, I think it can be easily adjusted, as you've already pointed out. So, like the level of darkness, I guess, to these for the lighter areas, possibly just making a separate texture for that. I don't think that would add too much texture weight to it, because it's a relatively small file. In fact, if we look at that really closer, so that texture by itself, where'd it go? So this guy right here, 172 kilobytes. It's not that big. So the fact that if it was any bigger than what it is, I guess, as far as to get the clarity that we see, might want to think twice about it. I think there's enough room in there to be able to add an additional texture to make it less dark, for example. It may be much the same, I guess, as far as for those medallions. Play around with that and see what you can come up with. I think from what I've seen so far with what you've already done, I think that's pretty good. Now, getting back to, I covered, I guess, as far as a little bit of that backstretch. Let's go over to turn 1. Kind of working my way back over to this way. I know I might seem to be going backwards a little bit, but there's a lot to cover here. There's a lot of things that are going on that just kind of bring it track full circle, and I do mean that on purpose. So in turn 1, I am noticing a little bit of clipping here. Now, I don't think we're going to notice this clipping in the sim, and I think we've pointed this out before. It all comes down to how does it actually present itself in the sim. If we don't notice this clipping in the sim, then it's nothing to be concerned about. It's just the way the track breathes. It flexes and what have you, I guess, as far as between the sandbox itself and in the sim. So in turn 1, which one are we speaking of here, Torch? Is it this guy? I forgot where we're looking at now. So turn 1, that was actually a model, right? Let's look at this closer. So you got a pole shed, turn 1. Where's that guy at? So let's look in sandbox. I'm gonna go over to object view, object placement view, and let's pan over here. So you've got that as an object, not necessarily the shadow, at least for it anyway. So that would be this guy. Yes. Nope. That's the actual light fixture. That's probably the TST. So yeah, I'm a little bit lost on that one there. Is it this guy? So it is this guy. Okay, so what am I highlighted on here? Let me see. Yeah, that's the actual light fixture that stands up. So let me see if I can find the, what is that called again? That is called Full Shad T1. One of our properties. I'm glad the stream is holding up against it so far. It's good. It's good. Oop, did I pass it? I think I did. I did. Full Shad right there. So where is this guy? So what is that right there? Oh, I see what you did. Oh, look at that. Okay, so in order to accommodate this one that's set back a little bit further, because it's obviously not casted onto the track, you had to make a separate texture or separate model. What does that use for texture? Take a look at that. So that is using, and we know how to find out, so we go in here, open with Notepad, and it's using an already existing texture that's called shadows. So you didn't create another texture for that. Again, this is a nice balance. You know, it's for if you're finding it necessary to not have to create a new texture and use something that already in existent, you know, the fact that you're taking the approach, I guess, is to do it that way. You've got a texture that is going to accommodate what you're trying to do, then do it that way, as opposed to. So if you don't necessarily have to add another texture with a new model, then don't do it that way. I think that's exactly what you're doing. It's good. Again, I think the Padawan has become the teacher. Good stuff. Alright, so just a lot of updated stuff, really. On top of updated stuff. Updated and very few new things, other than that gate and the remat foam and such, I guess, as far as like that. It's stuff that's already was in the track. It's just been enhanced, I guess, a little bit to be able to present it a little bit differently. Yeah, we already know that we need to adjust that. Yeah, so the fact that we see it so much darker on the model texture than we do the geometric texture, there's a lot of reason for that. So you can see how dark it is in here. It doesn't necessarily look that dark on the actual model piece, as we already tell. I can barely tell the difference, other than that star on that model piece for the Stargate. It's a Stargate. There you go. Yeah, definitely need to use what you got. Oh, we're going under the track. Ooh, you can see underneath the track, so you can even see it from the underside. Giggity. You can check it out from the underside, the underbelly. Alright, let's go back to this really quick. So we were kind of working our way through Turn 4. I don't think there's any updates to that I know of, right? To like Turn 4 and the pits or anything like that. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the Stargate. Yeah, the fact that you can't tell the difference in color between the blue and the red, other than just the star. I cannot tell the difference. Maybe the welds a little bit. I guess if you look really close, you can tell the welds are a little bit more highlighted. I mean, that's about the only thing I can. It's not really like in your face, other than that star, like I said. So I won't beat that up there too much. So even from a distance here, that star really stands out. So I think it needs to be toned down a little bit. So if you have to make it exaggerate the darkness on that to accommodate that, that's what we do. Now, we're gonna be taking a look taking a look at all of this in the sim. Don't you worry. But what I want to do before we do that, one of the edits I would like to try and apply is to that helicopter. That flies kind of funky. Yeah, that's something I do want to try to adjust there. So like I was saying earlier, because this probably won't be a whole lot of 3D modeling today. I'm kind of sore, to be honest there. I don't know if I really have the endurance, I guess, as far as to do that today. Let alone is there really any need, I guess, to do any modeling. I don't think there's anything new in here, right, Torch? think this is all pretty much the same. Nothing's really changed here. We got the placards here up on that. Those have been added previously. You will have a major lacrosse update for you this week. What's major? What is major? Alright, so nothing in here. Okay, cool. Noise. Torch, I did send you. I don't know if you did get that or not. As well as James. I see that you're in here. I did send both of y'all a little bit of presents, I guess, as far as the turn 1 pavilion, which I feel is pretty much done. If there is any other adjustments to that, definitely let me know to that. And also the animated flags. Now, just like I mentioned to you, Torch, in the message to those animated pieces, it does have the properties and the function as far as to add those fast, medium, slow. Obviously, with what I've got and what you've got currently, I guess it's up to you. I don't have any problem with applying it once you're done with your updates. So once you get the updates to me, to be able to apply the appropriate parameters to the new flags, right? As far as the fast, medium, and slow. So I sent them to you at least anyway, so you've got them. So they are the current ones that do have the animation properties to it. But if you just want to do your updates, send those updates to me, as well as any appropriate PTFs, and I can apply those parameters to the fast, medium, slow of all those flags, I guess, as far as post fact. That's up to you. All the information is available on the we got the page for the Spline Design Studios site. In fact, it's on that other information for the Spline Design Studios site. It is all in there, I guess, as far as to apply that information the way you need to. So, you need that information, it's all right there. So, either if you do want to do it, you don't want to do it, want me to do it, just let me know. Outfield basically finished. Turn for a grandstand. Base should be done. Love major updates. Yeah, as long as it kind of scares me a little bit when you say major updates, especially in nice big bold letters. But from what I'm getting from that, I guess as far as it's just so there will be a PTF adjustment, but that's to be expected. So whether or not, James, if you've gotten it, did you confirm? Yeah, let me know if you did or did not get the turn 1 pavilion. I did include the coordinates, I guess, as far as for that. So if you want to apply that prior to giving that major update, that'd be fine. So that way it'll kind of be that way I don't have to reapply that. That'd be nice, actually. Less work for me. I know it can be kind of a pain as far as when we're collaborating on builds, I guess, as far as to not get things mixed up, especially like with these flags, the animated flags. I had to look there for a second to make sure the timer didn't stop. Okay, just making sure it's on the uptime. Yeah, but definitely let me know as far as what approach you want, either one of you want to take with those flags, as far as you want me to do anything post fact, I guess, as far as what you're doing. Whatever I can do, I guess, as far as to alleviate some of the pains of building a track build. Good stuff. So we even got these spotters that are up here on the. This is all the way. It's going back a few streams, I guess, as far as to kind of reminisce a little bit. Lots of really cool detail up here, and I think we did kind of put a. I think we did. I don't remember if we did put a spectator view up here. I don't remember. If we didn't, we probably should. That might be one of the final touches we can apply, I guess, is first to the track. This would be a nice bird's eye view. This is a really cool view. So much detail to that track. Alright, so what we want to get into now is that helicopter. So it should be parked over here by the medical center. And I think that's generally what the helicopter is for medevac. Is it actually in the track? No. Where is this guy at? Let's, gotta beam this thing up here. Let's close this guy out. Already seeing what's going on with that. Okay, so I think I'm still in... I need to put this over here. I need to put this in, object view. Alright, okay. Alright, so let's go to our items list. And let's find the heli. What the heli? I passed it. Okay. I'm gonna find it here in a second here. We're gonna find it in our items list. And we're gonna get 100% confirmation of where this bad boy's at. So we're gonna go up here. So we don't have a lot of shared items in this track, right? So everything is pretty much in the track. Yeah, so most of this should be alphabetic. So this, we got the B's, C's, lots of campers, fences, fire. That should be for the victory lane. That's all grandstand people. They're all individualized. There it is, helicopter. Whoa, baby, slow up. All right, so we're gonna highlight that. Pan out of this and we'll see exactly where that bad boy is. That's where she's parked. Right now. Okay, so we'll be able to see this in the camera view. Yep, just like Tor said, we passed it. Sure did. Alright, so this is where this guy is. So this guy flies. We're trying to get this one to fly. Right? But it flies kind of funky. Okay, so what we want to do is take a closer look at the path file to set the waypoints for this, right? So let's take a look. I've got a couple examples here. So I got this one here. This example is based on one we know that works, right? Based on a different type of helicopter. And I think this was from the Dover build, if I'm not mistaken. So this particular helicopter is not in this track, but it's still got the same concept to it, as far as what you want, the way you want to apply it. So this is one we know that works. It has 4 waypoints. This is the one that's in the Texas track that it doesn't work right. So we've got 7 waypoints in this deal, so we can kind of get an idea. Okay, so at the first 3 numbers are X, Y, Z. So we're Z because we're on the ground, right? And X and Z, X and Y, my bad. So if we want to go right into this view here, we should be able to look at the very bottom. Might be kind of hard to see at the bottom of the screen, but there's an X and Y coordinate. So where this thing is at, if we hover over this like so, also we can look at it from 3D model right here. So the fact that it is moving, that's critical, I guess, as far as to be able to use the path file, and it's using a chopper sound effect, I guess, as far as for that. That's all legit. So that's all fine and dandy. 284.201. Let's take a look at our path file. So we're basically where that should be. 283. Oh, bad. Close that up. So 283. Let's go back to our properties. Kind of put this side by side. So it is kind of grayed out. So we're roughly where we need to be on the X. 106.923. We're at 107. So that's pretty much where that is parked. And again, the 0 represents Z, which is on the ground. Okay. And then the next value is going to be the radius. This is how it turns. Right? And I think this is where our problem is. This value here, this 2.42, is what's wrong. The last value is how long does it sit there? How long does it stay parked there until it takes on to the waypoints? So if you want it to be a shorter interval or a longer interval, that's basically how this last value works. And that gives you a little bit of information right here as far as all that. So if we look at this one, now the 20 represents, it's not necessarily seconds, right? Or a number of minutes or anything like that. So you got to kind of play around with this. So a higher number obviously is going to make it sit there longer. In most cases, you want to play around with that. It's kind of almost the same thing as it uses radians in the rotation, I guess, as far as for pit stalls and starting grids. So it's kind of the same concept here, I guess, as far as with that. It's not necessarily seconds or minutes. It's like, I don't even know what unit it is, I'll just be perfectly honest. But a larger number will make the object that you're parking on this first waypoint, how long is it going to sit there? That's the very last value. So this one here, the radius, how much radius does it take to turn when it? So that's for each of these waypoints. You have to consider each of these waypoints. So on this first waypoint, it's going to turn 40 degrees. In this case, it's going to be on the z-axis, right? Not necessarily the y or the x for that matter. So this should be related. So it really does come down to how your model that you're trying to apply this to, where its where its axis is at. So we're going to take a look at this model that we're using for this and see where the rotation is and see where the x, y, and z are at. Okay. That's right. So let's go to our track edit folder right here, and we got to find this model, which is a heli. Should all be alphabetic. And I'm just going to initially open this up in 3D SimEd just to get an idea of the orientation of all the axes. Where's this guy at? F, G, H. There's all the grandstand. Helicopter right here. We're going to open this guy up. This is the guy we're trying to get to fly. Alright? So I look at this, we can see we've got our Y is going this way, our X is going this way. So the way this thing is going to rotate, the way this, go back here, it's going to rotate on the Z 40 degrees. Right? But that's not necessarily what we're experiencing it doing. It's like turning on its. And I don't remember what. We might have to look in the sim and actually see how it's turning. It might be turning on the wrong axis. So we might have to use a different axis, I guess, as far as for let's see, for the rotation. And there's really nothing you can change in the way this path file is designed. So it is exactly like this. The first value is X, second value is Y, third value is the Z, as far as how high off the ground. So this is actually parked up a little bit higher, I guess. This is for the Dover build. Let's go back to this one here. So we've got 0 on the Z, 2.42, and then 2 on the delay. This is the radius. So the fact that this is 2.42, that might be what's causing the problem. I think that's what I was alluding to. So when we compare these, it might be the fact that it's a decimal. Might be what causing it. We'll have to try this out and see. Take a look at this. We'll play around with it a little bit and see what's going on with it. So we get the idea of where it's parked. So the first waypoint that it goes to from where it's parked, 621 255. Looking sandbox. 621 255. So again, we want to do that from 621. And I think that one's using more D-long and D-lat. Let me check this. Oh, it should be using X and Y. 621 255. Is that going the other way? Going this way. Yep, it's going out this way. So it basically starts from here and flies out this way, based on the way this is designed. So it goes out somewhere this way on the first waypoint, and then on the next waypoint, 324 to 324.13, it comes back this way. Yep, so it goes swings out this way and comes back this way. What I'm guessing. So the last waypoint is minus 555, 151. That's going to be somewhere over here. minus 555, 151. 151. Yeah, so it's somewhere out here. So it basically loops out this way and comes back around this way and then comes back to home. So it basically flies around something in this pattern. Okay, and from what we've witnessed, I guess as far as when we go into the track, we see that the way it flies, it kind of flies sideways. So the rotation, I'm thinking, as far as that radius, is what's the problem with this 242. And we'll play around with that and just add same as what we got here, for example, for starters, and see what kind of result we get. Because it's looking to me, the way this model is designed, as far as where the X, Y, and Z are, it should allow to be able to rotate properly and not go sideways. Right? Should. Alright, so that's what we're going to try here, at least anyway. So this is one we know that works. We're going to try this value for rotation instead of this 242. Right? So that's going to be the one for park. So you can see how this kind of... So we see a 2.5 rotation, I guess, on this one here. We'll see how that works with this one here. So I think minus 283, 108. Where's that one at? Minus 283, 108. See, the actual hospital is towards the speedway. Okay, well that would make sense as far as the direction it's flying then. So the fact that it kind of goes out this way, goes like this, right? That's the way this path is designed anyway. It starts over here at the right here, goes around this way, comes back around. What I want to check is minus 283, 108. This line right here. Minus 283, 108. Where's that one at? 283. So it's right about here. But got a 2.5 turn. Okay. I don't know if that's where it's turning side. We notice it, you know, in the track there. It's closer to pit road here, so it's in one of these here. But what I'm seeing in the these radiuses here, that should be fine. Okay. Well, we're gonna change this one here and see if that fixes the problem where it takes off, and just go from there. So everything else seems to be as it should be, from what I can tell. Ooh, almost got a jackpot. I saw that one out of the corner of my eye. I saw that one. Alright, so we're going to save this one. Okay, so right now I've got this in the... I backed up the one that you did, Torch, the one you sent me. In the updated files. So, go back up here. So yeah, I backed that one up, and I'm going to edit this one that I got currently open. This is the one that we know that works. And like I said, I believe, if my memory serves me right, I think this comes from the Dover build. It's got the one that flies off from the medical center and it takes off, and that one works, but that's using a different model too. So we're going to try this out and see how it works. So far from everything that I'm seeing though, that this should work. In theory. Alright, so let's go ahead and save this guy. Way it is. I already backed that other one up. And then we need to put this guy into our game track folder. Yeah. Here, so we already saved that right now. I'm gonna copy that and paste this into our game track directories, which I don't have open. Go ahead and do that. Let's go ahead and put that in here. Into our tracks. This is the same track. I got everything as we've showcased in Sandbox is already in here. with exception to some backed up files. That's about it. The only difference. Whether or not those can be removed, that's still yet to be determined. So we want to overwrite that guy. And again, I already have that backed up, so now we're going to go ahead and check this one out. Go check this guy out. See how well we did. And if we need to make any further adjustments. Let's see, I tried to get those setting right. But I bet the decimal thing might be a problem. Well, the fact that the one path there, like I was showing, has a decimal, it shouldn't be an issue. But if we come to find at when it gets to that point, I was just trying to. That's why I kind of laid it out there. So right about this point over here, 280. What did I say? Somewhere in this area, it's got that 2.5 turn. So it should be turning on its Z, right? Not be going sideways. So if we see it get funky, as far as in that spot, then we know that that decimal is probably a problem. We might have to just put a round number in there. Because even if we compare that to the one that we know that works, it does not have those. And it has fewer waypoints too. Now the number of waypoints don't matter. You can have the object go as far as you want it to go. And just make sure you're putting proper coordinates in there, which I can see the way this one's done. Fine. So the fact that it's defined that there's 7 points, and there are 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So nothing wrong with that. So the fact that this one has fewer, still say there is 4, and there are 1, 2, 4. Right? So that shouldn't be a problem. So it may necessarily be the main culprit here might be the fact that we've got these radiuses with decimal. Okay, we're gonna try it out though. What's going on with this? Got it all saved. Oops, my bad. Let's load up. Now that we got it into our game track directory, we're gonna load up sim. See what's going on. Oops, sorry guys. Storm coming. Oh, that's not good. Shut the PC. Shut her down. Yeah, we had some storms come through earlier. It was very short-lived though. I think we needed it though. Obviously, it's been super duper warm. It's been pushing 90 around here. It's been super. I'm not complaining. Don't get me wrong, but yeah, I think we definitely needed it. You just had thunderstorms with hail. Oh Jesus. Oh hail no. Yeah, take her easy, James. Definitely send an update, and you can discuss. All right, cool. Yeah. Did James ever confirm with me that he did get my stuff? Oh, well, I was going there. Tough SOB. What's going on? Yeah, Richard James had to vacate. He's got storms coming through there. I don't blame him whatsoever. I'd be shutting her down too. I don't mess around with storms. That's for darn sure. All right, we got the sim open. Just relaxing. That's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that there, tough as a bee. Welcome on in there. Glad to have you. Yeah, we're just getting in. We're doing some testing with our tractor. We made some adjustments to our helicopter that flies. And we're going to observe, I guess, as far as what our adjustments that we made, how they work. So let's go into... I think we can go into testing for this. I'm not sure if it does work, I guess, as far as in testing. So, yep, we're going to load up Texas Motor Speedway. Yeah, buddy. All right, cool. So keeping in mind, and I don't have any wind on this one here, but we do have the models in there for the animated flags, but it does not have the parameters for the fast, medium, slow. So, eventually that'll get applied properly. All right, let's go ahead and drive. And what I should be able to do is 5. Cool. So I got cam hack in here. Kind of give me an idea. And I don't know if this helicopter actually flies in testing. We're going to find out here in a second. Yep, he does. Look at him. Check him out. Check him out. Oh! Check him out. Look at him flying. Oh, crap. He's going fast, too. Crap. Where'd he go? Oh, he's going into the sun. Oop, that sun's... Oh, sorry about the sun. Oh, he stopped over there. What did he do? See him right there? Zoom, zoom. I think he landed over there. Why did he land over there? Still flying kind of funky. Okay. So I think that's that spot where I was talking about with the decimal. It's got the decimal rotation. Yeah, we don't want that. I gotta turn some stuff off here. Okay, hold on a second. Turn that off. Yeah, so cam hack is kind of funky, I know. Yeah, he's still flying sideways. But I think it's that... Yeah, see him flying sideways? Let's see if he straightens out, though. So when he initially took off, it seemed fine. Why is he going sideways? I don't get that. So it might be not so much of a rotation. Is the X and the Y might be backwards. Yep, he's taking off again, so he's going off that way. And over there. Go this way. Follow this guy. So he went over there like he's expected to. Where'd he go? There he is. See, we looped it around that way. Okay. You're not wrong. Yeah, when I was pushing down, my bad. I don't know how much y'all missed that. So when I was moving around in the sim there, cam hack, so that's one of my buttons. Yeah, so I must have muted there. The only thing I was mentioning, I was just taking note of just using 4 waypoints. Yeah, definitely thanks for getting my attention there, Torch. So yeah, when I was using the keys that I use as far as for cam hack, moving around there to see what the helicopter was doing. Obviously, you all saw it as far as what we. So what I'm taking note of as far as like to trim this down, probably just 4 waypoints, much the same as this one is. Obviously, it won't be the same waypoints. This is for a different track build, but we can follow the same concept of this one that we know that works and apply it to this in a similar fashion. So we'll have it take off once, right? We'll have it loop around as far as goes towards the Speedway Club and come back, and then land again, right? Yeah, he was definitely still a bit backwards, yeah. And we know why now. That was what I was trying to explain there too. Part of the reason why he's going backwards is he does land. He takes off right here. He loops it around and gets as far as over by turn 4. And then when he makes his way across pit road over to pit exit in the infield, he lands right here. And that's what I was reading wrong initially. So this is where he lands again and then takes off. And this is where he gets funky because the rotations are not right. Probably for the most part, it's going to chunk all this out. I'm not going to use any of this. Let's take this all out. And when you know, for the most part, these first 2 work, right? I'll have to fix these a little bit and adjust these waypoints so that we'll just use 4. So I'll adjust this down to 4 instead of 7. Okay. So this one works here. This is where he's parked, right? We're gonna have him go from here out to here. Actually, I'm going to do a cutoff here. I'm going to do right here. Do something like the minus 13.50. Okay. Let's apply that to that. So we'll do a minus 13. That's the X. And I'm getting that information from the very bottom right hand corner of the screen while I'm in this mode. So from here, we'll do 195. Try this out here. 95, 255. Let's see what's 255. Check that out. Keeping this one open here just to kind of use it as a reference there to see if that rotations are correct on the, as far as where the pivots are for this model. So where's 255? Okay, so you'd be out this way. Yeah, we could probably do that. So he goes from here to here, closer to the start-finish line. No, we maybe want to keep him closer this way, or over to the infield. Do like 165. All right. 165 on this one. Why? Okay, and then we want him to 60 high. Yep, and then leave it at 100. That's the radius. Time delay, obviously he's going to be up in the air, so that's going to be 0. That's probably another fair point. So the fact that the only time the time delay really comes into play, I mean, if you want him to hover at a certain level, you could do that. So like, let's say if he gets over to, you make a waypoint over here, we want him to just hover there and just sit there for a little bit. That's where that time delay would come in. So if we want him to sit there for a period of time, like say, I don't know, 10 units, you could do that before he starts moving again. You could do that if you wanted to. So the way this one works on the first stop, he's only sitting there for a brief moment of time before he takes off. He'll take off to this midpoint here of pit road, like right about here. And then we're going to have him go here, turn around, and come back. Okay? So we're going to go from here to over here. And we can even have him go as far out past the Speedway Club. We got him up a pretty good distance. He's up about 60 meters. So that should be well enough above the Speedway Club. And we can observe that, I guess, as far as when we test it in the sim to see. Yeah, he doesn't need to... Yeah, I don't think he does either. That's why I'm just going to reduce the number of waypoints. Alright, so the next point we want is to go right about here. Past that, and we'll have him come back. $558. 58. So minus 558, 58. Minus 558 on the X and 58 on the Y. Still keeping them at 60 high, right? And then 100 rotation, and then we don't want them to hover there, so we're gonna have them hover. Keep going, and then when we have them come back, it's gonna start descending. So that's why this number's lower. So it's relatively the same height as where he started from. That should be good. So we want to bring him back. The next waypoint. Bring him back, coming this way. So we'll go basically right here. We'll put it at 3.50 on the X. 3.50. 3.5. We should be able to use decimal there. We could probably just make it an even 4. Just from keeping it simple. And then on the Y, like 127. So it's basically what he's going to do. He's going to fly here. He'll come on a little bit over pit road. Go this way, come back, and then be closer to the infield before he lands again. That's the general structure we got here. 413. Is that right? 13. What was that on the Y? Do about 150. So we got 150. That one's 165. That sounds good. Yeah, I think that doesn't look too bad. So 150. We could probably do the same 165. You know, basically coming back on the same path that he came, relatively. But we want to make it a little bit lower. I'm going to keep it the same as where he starts off from, right? This will help him lower. And then the radius will obviously be smaller. Radius should be smaller. Actually, the way this one is 240, 40, 240, 100, 100. I think I'm going to apply these same rotations as this one that we know that works. Just to ensure that he's going to rotate properly. 40, 240. I think the 100 will leave there with the 240. Because when he's turning around, that needs to be a bigger number. That makes sense. So, picture, if you will, you're coming off like this. We get to here. Once we get to this, we got to do a big UE. So that's going to be a bigger radius to turn around. Be able to go back this way and back to the starting waypoint. That's why we're going to put one here. So he makes a big turn. And we'll keep that at a 240, right? And then the last one will be back to 100. Might be able to do that at 35, actually, now that I think of it. Might be able to. Let's try it this way. If this doesn't work, then I know I need to put this at 100. Yeah. Let's try this out. So we'll save this guy. Let's try him out. Let's try them out. Okay, now we just got to put that guy into our track edit, from our track edit folder to our game directory. Copy that and put that right into our game track directory. Right there. Yep. Yes, I want to replace that. Now let's go into the sim. Let's try her out. Yep, we can do this in testing mode. So this particular helicopter that we're using, it works in testing mode as well. I assume it would work in race mode as well. We'll try it all though. Try it all out. Yeah, let's load this up. So far, so good though. Drive. Okay. 5. Okay, we got that. Spinning around. Whoa, there he goes. Oh, he's still going sideways. What in the world are you doing? What in the world are you doing, guy? Okay, making sure my mic, I don't mute my mic this time. Oh my god, that sun's bright. Yeah, he's still flying sideways right there. Why are you doing that? That is weird. Still flying sideways. At least he's not landing this time. He's going back. So he's doing some of it. I don't know why he's going sideways though. So he does turn. I'll be damned. So he does go back, so we only got the 4 waypoints now. So basically he takes off. Let's sit there for... Yep, there he goes. He's taking off again. Why are you flying sideways? Okay, I might have to put a smaller radius on that, I guess, as far as the turn. That might be part of the problem with this model. Holy crap, that sun's bright. See, he's going over there. We're past the Speedway Club. Okay, there's the 240. Okay. That's where I applied the 240. Now he goes... Oh, alrighty then. Okay, so those radiuses might be a little too extreme. Might have to go a little bit smaller on the radiuses then. He's definitely taking the 4 points there, but yeah, we got to figure out why he's flying side. I don't think we need as big a radius on the turns. What I'm thinking. Alright, let's try this out. Alright, we're going to use this information. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of weird. So it really comes down to these rotations here. So the fact that even when he takes off there, he's sideways, and he continues to stay sideways. Well, you saw him do that big turn. This is this 240. That's on this waypoint. So, question is, what type of radius do I need to put on that? I might not need to put a radius on him at all. I may not need to put a radius on him at all. I don't know, so make it go... Yeah, I can do that. I'm just trying to figure out the rotation right now, yeah. Right. Yeah, so right now I'm just trying to figure out... I wanted to keep him, you know, close by for now, just so I can kind of see from one spot as far as what type of rotation, what kind of turn he's doing. That's the only reason why I kept him closer. Once I figure out the rotation, I can definitely have him go further out. I'm almost thinking maybe we don't need... Okay, what is his placement in the track starting out here? Let's see. Let's see. Give me that mess. So he is placed... kind of already sideways to begin with. Okay. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe we don't need to have him turn quite so much. So we only need to turn like maybe 5 radians, 5 or 10 radians. Let's try that. So instead of 40, we'll do 10. Okay, so once he's turned, Get to the next point. We don't need him to really turn anymore. We can keep him at 10. Okay. And then this is where we need to have him a bigger turn. So with this one we'll put it at a 40. And then another 10. Let's try that. A lot lesser radius. So what I'm going by, I guess, as far as when I apply these values, is that I look at his orientation as he is right now. When he initially takes off there, he doesn't need to turn all that much. Go in that direction. So it looks like the amount of rotation that I had for starters there was kind of keeping him this way. I think that's why it gave him the appearance of keeping it sideways. It may even come down to the fact that maybe this model will not rotate. If that's the case, then we could probably redo this model so that we can allow it to rotate. That might be something we might have to do too, which would require, I guess, some modeling. Don't know if I want to get into that. All right, so let's we're gonna try it this way anyway first, just for starters. Yeah, that was something I was thinking of too, Torch, as far as just adjust the model's position altogether. I don't know if that'll correct when he turns around to come back. It still might give him the effect that he'll either go backwards, he'll fly backwards, or still sideways. What I think about. So, we're gonna try it this way first, though. These radiuses. See what happens. We'll go file, save, and then we can kind of go from. So let's go ahead. Put that in from here. And put that into our game track directory. Right here. I'm going to overwrite this guy. Yes, please. And then we'll start up sim and check it out. It could be a possibility as far as adjust the position. We'll see though. Okay, go testing. Yo. Yeah, good thing I didn't mute my mic that time. I'll have to watch that. So the key that I used to mute the mic or whatever, obviously that's what I used last time. So there we go. He's still flying sideways. He's a piece of crap. Yep, I already saw that. He was flying sideways. Okay. Go. Yep, he's still flying sideways. Okay. How does he, Darn it. Ah. Oh, there we go. Yeah, he's still flying sideways. Yeah, I don't know if this model will turn. I guess maybe this one's not designed to rotate on the Z for some reason. Yep, see, he's landing. But he's staying relatively that same position as its orientation. Alright, he's going to take off again here. We're going to watch that. We'll watch him. There he goes. Coming at us. Take cover. Yeah, he's... Oh, why does he take a dip there? Took a dip there. What the heck? Oh, I know that sun's bright. I'm sorry. Apologize for that. So he goes over there by the Speedway Club. Goes a little bit past it. And comes back. But he doesn't turn at all. That's odd. He stays sideways the whole time. I wonder if I gotta put a much bigger radius on that. Because we know he does turn, but it's trying to find the... he's got a little bit of a tip there, I guess, as far as right at that midpoint there. Okay, but he does land. Okay. Got a little bit more information here. Okay. Yeah, it might need a different model. That's 100% true too. Might need to. So I know James knows a little bit more about this too, as far as the way Wingfoot 1 is designed, for example. It does tend to matter where you've got, in fact, we can open up wing foot. We got wing foot in the track. We can kind of look at where the pivots are for that, and kind of use that as a guide too. So we can see, this is what I would expect to see as far as the pivot, that to be able to turn, right? The way this path file might be designed, it might be, I don't see him turning on the x-axis, for example, so like side to side. He doesn't turn at all. That's the thing. So I don't know what's going on with that. So I'm going to take a look at wing foot 1. Let's close this for a second. And see where James has got the pivot on that. So we've seen how the orientation was for that. Okay, so for wing foot, yep, we got the Z here, the X, and the Y. So that, I don't know why that thing doesn't rotate properly then. This is almost the same exact way. So Z right there. Y is that way, X is this way. And the rotation, when you apply the rotation, is usually on the Z. So it'll pivot on the Z, so in this direction, for example. So that's the way that other model is designed, but what I don't see... Let me look at Wingfoot's path file. Maybe we can go by that. So Wingfoot's path file, blimp. Oh, it's not going to be in here, that's right. We got to go here. Let's look at the blimp path file. That dude is right here. We're just going to look at it for clarity here. There's the blimp path file. So this has... This one's up a little bit higher, obviously, on the 95 on the Z. 160, 180, 180, 150. Okay. Now, the only difference with Wingfoot is he doesn't land. Okay? Doesn't land. So, I'm guessing maybe we can put these types of radiuses on there just to see what we got. So, this is another example of a path file. We know it works, right? In comparison to this guy. I don't remember which model this was based on. I just know it was from Dover. I'm pretty sure it was from Dover. So I just went with one that I know does work. But this one we also know that works. That's in our Texas build. So what I'm going to do next is just apply these radiuses to this one here and see how that works. Yeah, try this. So 160, 180, 180, 150. So we'll do 160. And we can do any combination of those, I guess. 160. That's 180. 180, okay. 180. Middle one. Now, keeping in mind, too, I don't know, we're going to try it and see what goes on. The Wingfoot has much wider, you can tell on here as far as the waypoint, so it's Wingfoot is going more like, let's go into sandbox here. Wingfoot's going more like, it's going like from here to here to here to here, right? And our chopper here is much more tighter path file, so it's not as wide out. So this may or may not work even as I speak there. Smaller radius definitely doesn't work, so it may come to the conclusion that that model just doesn't want to rotate. We know this one does, though. That's why I'm using it as an example. Okay, so see, this one I want to put at 150. We're still going to have it land. Okay. 0, 60, 60, 40. Alright, we're going to try this. Save. Copy that from our edit files. Over to our game track directory. Yes, please. And we'll load that up and try it out. Righty then. We are learning some stuff though. Testing. Potentially learning the fact that this model might not be rotatable. And he's taking off. Still going sideways. It's a crap. Oh my goodness. I'm just thinking this dude doesn't want to rotate. Lift it up. Oop, my bad. Holy crap, that sounds bright. Yep, he's still going sideways. Yeah, I know I don't have him. He's stopping just before. It's a little bit past the Speedway Club, and he comes. See, he's still going sideways. It doesn't matter what rotation I put on that sucker. I'm kind of to the conclusion that this model does not want to rotate, for whatever reason. And for whatever reason, I don't know why. But at least he's taking off and landing. I guess as far as property, this one doesn't want to rotate properly. Yeah, that's really interesting. I'm not really sure why. Because everything that we look at concludes the fact that it should be able to rotate. The pivot definitely guess that. So we know Wingfoot rotates on the Z-axis like this, right? Based on where James put this pivot. Okay, so we're going to reload our helicopter again. I guess I didn't really need to close it. Where'd at? There it is. Let's take a closer look at this again. So yeah, everything points to the idea that this should be able to rotate on the Z. Z is pointed up, not on whack like Wingfoot. It's like Wingfoot. The only difference is like the blades don't rotate, but I think we can get around with that. So if nothing else, it might come down to you might have to use a different model. I'm coming to the conclusion that this one doesn't want to rotate. So what I'm going to do is just swap out a model here. So I do believe it was Dover. Might have to unpack it in order to get that model, but yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I'm definitely coming to the conclusion that this model doesn't want to rotate for whatever reason. I don't understand why. Doesn't seem to matter what radius that we put on that particular axis. I can put a smaller or a bigger number and it doesn't seem to matter. It stays sideways. That's not what it should be doing. And there's really no prerequisite other than to make sure that your Z is straight up and down on the vertical. Your X and your Y are where they need to be, so that... Oh. So what I am going to do is we're going to go into our game track directory and I'm going to grab that and I think it's a shared deal. So I can look in the Dover track and see which path file. That's the Heli 2. Excuse me. And we can look in the shared folder for that model. Let's see, where do I need to go? You go to there. Yeah, shared folder. Heli 2. Why do I need to look at first? So the Heli 2 in the shared folder. Excuse me. Heli 01, Heli 2. Here's Heli 2. Open this up in 30 seconds. That's this guy. Okay. Let's try and swap out this model. So again, you can see 100% the way this thing should work here. The Z is up and down, X and Y. So it rotates on axis. That's what that path file is designed for that to do. This one I think also has a rotating rotor. So other than the fact it doesn't have what do you call it? Landing skids or whatever you want to call it. The only downside to it is. But let's swap this model out. What we have already got in the track here. What we'll do, what files do we need? And what? So this is using Rot MIP, LE2 Night. Here, let's do a search. All the MIPs that we need for it. And we're just going to test this out here just to see. So Rot MIP, LE2 MIP, LE2 Night. Got 3 textures out of the shared folder. Alright. So this guy, Rot MIP. That's what gives it the animation, I guess, as far as for the it makes it look like it's spinning. Where that at? ROT MIP. All alphabetic. So there's this guy. And a Heli 2. H is here for the MIPS. Heli 2 and Heli 2 Night. There we go. All those guys. Copy these over to our track edit. So I'm only going to put these in here. I'm going to rename. This is just for science. Well, the helicopter that we got in here, I'm going to back that one up. Actually, what I could do, instead of putting in the track edit folder, put it right in the game direct. Could do. Yeah, that's what. Yeah, while I still got those selected, let's do. Cut that out of here. I'm gonna put this right in the game tracker. We don't really need it in the. Because it's already applied as helicopter. I'm gonna rename the model for this, so that'll take on, I guess, as far as the existing one that we already have in there, if that makes sense. Alright, so we'll go here. Let's put 20, and we'll put it right in here. I'm going to back up the helicopter that's already in here. This is this little trick, you know, kind of tricking it to say, look, this is the model I want to use. Even though we've applied a different one in the track. If that makes sense. If it works, we keep it. That's what right? Alright, we'll see what's going on here, though. What we'll need to do, I guess, as far as to make it legit, is to apply that helicopter with the proper name to it and put that in a position instead of the one that's already there. That would be the approach I would take anyway. But this is once we determine, I guess, that it's going to work right though. All right, let's. All right, where's the other helicopter? We need to back that one up. So E, F, G, H. So this one right here we need to back up. And this is all in the game directory, the game track directory. So back this one up. Right? And then what we're going to do is rename this one helicopter. So even though it's a different model, it's going to trick the PTF into saying, okay, here's that file, and this is what I'm going to load. Right? And once we determine that this is going to work, I don't think I spelled that right, did I? Oh. Where'd my backup go? There it is. I need this. Less the... Not spell that right. Copy this. Apply that one to here. Definitely did not spell that right. Yeah, definitely it does help to spell it right. So All we're doing is we're replacing the model, renaming it, because that's the name of the file that's already assigned to the PTF. So it's going to load this one and follow that path that we applied. So we're going to use the same path that we already have, but it's going to load a different model. All right, so let's go ahead and try this out. Yeah, that should work. Yeah, because we don't even have to do anything with the path file, because that's what we got assigned in the path file. Let's go back to that really quick. So the helicopter, right? So this is already assigned to the PTF as well. And what path file is that helicopter 3DO using? So we're just tricking the game into believing, look, the file's right there. So all I got to do is use it. So if it works, then we'll be able to apply this particular model properly into directly into the track, just like we did the previous helicopter. Again, if that makes sense. All right, so let's go into the sim and try this one out, shall we? Let's do up the sim. I got all the files that we need in there. Yep, so it should load with fine. It shouldn't have any problem. Yep. Marvelous so far. Alright, let's load it up this way. We should be able to see it taking off. I'm not seeing anything. What okay. What the hell happened there? I don't see anything. You know what? Okay, so because we switched the model, it may only work during a race. That's probably the other thing too. And that might be another thing that's up with this that other model you were trying to use. The fact that it did load in testing. So the fact this particular model doesn't load in testing. We'll have to probably go into a race, which is fine too. Okay. Go ahead and get out of this one. I don't think we really need a helicopter going during testing anyway. That's just kind of my take on it, but alright, let's get out of here and we'll go into a race weekend. Let's go into a single race. Yeah, so that's definitely something I'm already noticing right off the bat, that why that's not loading is because it does not load in testing, but it does load probably in single race. Alright, so this time we should see it going up. There it goes. That looks cool. Alright, let's go ahead and go into drive. See how it flies. Where you at? There it is. Going into the sun. That one definitely seems to be flying right. Good turn around. Oh wow, that's a sharp turn. We might have to ease that turn up. He went like whoop. But he does rotate. Definitely does rotate. You need to see how that thing looks when it lands over there. Check this out the way it lands. Definitely does seem to work better. Definitely this one's only going to work a race. No. Take off again. Amount of delay, that's a 2. That's how long he waits before he takes off again. There he goes. I don't mean to make everybody dizzy. I'm gonna go over here where he lands. Interesting question though, as far as to make that work properly. There he goes. Trying to get over there. crap. Okay. That's not good. We'll have to adjust the height of that. It kind of takes... Okay, that's pretty cool taking off. It's a pretty sharp turn that he makes over by the Speedway Club, though. If we send him out a little bit further, and then do a little bit smaller of a radius, I guess, as far as the turn on that there, I think it should be fine. We definitely need to change the height, so he's at 0. So he's underneath the track. That's what I wanted to check here. We'll have to... Plans. Here he comes. Whoop! And he goes underneath the track there. Okay, yeah, he lands right here in the helipad. Gotcha. Yeah, we'll just have to raise the height of where he lands, and then change that radius over at the other end. So he does kind of take off backwards. I don't think that's actually kind of cool, actually. Kind of goes a little bit backwards, like, oh, we're gonna go this way. We could probably smooth it out a little bit and make it less of a sharp of a turn. Probably do that. Alright, let's get out of that. It's pretty neat. So far it's working pretty good. 0 on the track is more... 0 on the track is more like 250. Oh, you're talking about in the height? Yeah, could be. Very well could be. Let's take a look at it though. Let's go back into our thing. So we got something working here. So I think what we'll need to do... I don't know how much you've got done with this torch. Because if I do this myself there, it might step on what you're trying to update. So that's kind of where I'm at. You kind of got an idea of what you need to do, though. It needs a different model. I don't think that model... that you're trying to use is going to work. So if you want to take that type of information in as far as just go with it. I used, you know, as I show, it's right in the shared folder, right? It's just the Heli 2. So all it would come down to is just to use, you can use the same path file that you already got in the track, right? Just you can put that Heli 2 in there and take the helicopter one out and just swap that out there and keep the same path file, and then just adjust the I'll come to the what values will need to be, and I can even send you an updated path file. That way I can leave it up to you to put the proper that way it's not stepping on what you're trying to update. No, because if I do it, it might step on what you're already trying to update is all. Yeah, so I'll just give you the updated path file. So once we get this tweaked where it needs to be, I can send you just the path file. So just for reference here, what you'd have to do is take out the current helicopter and the related file as far as the MIT for it, and bring in those files for the Heli 2, which are all in the shared folder, like I said. Alright, let's make some adjustments here though. So we're thinking the height on that's probably more like a 2.5 on the height. Let's do that. Alright. That time delay on it seems fine. So the radius 160, we probably want to go smaller on that. Yeah, so we want to do a 40 on this. So I'm going to go back to this one. So this is the same helicopter that were used for Dover, right? I'm going to use these same radiuses for that. Because it's more or less doing the same thing as we're trying to do here in Texas. So we do 40, 240, 100, 100. Okay, so at 40, 240, 100, 100. 240, and then 100, 100. That should work. So this is almost much the same as where I got it from. This information on this one from over. We're applying that only with different waypoints, obviously, because obviously 2 different track configurations. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and save this. And we did adjust that height and weren't land, so it shouldn't be below the track. Did you get that from the shared folder? That was in the shared folder. Yeah, I didn't make that clear. So that was in the shared folder, that helicopter, that Heli 2. And it's got 2 MIPs and that rot MIP. So it's got three MIPs that go with it. And I put those, as it sits right now, as far as it's directly in the Texas game track directory. Yeah. So Texas game track. So we renamed it in this one, obviously. So you would have to take out this helicopter MIP that was for the original, which I backed up. Let's confirm. What files does this one actually? Edit, find. Yeah. I only got the one. That's one. Confirm. Yep, just that one file. So the initial helicopter that you got, I think that was a cool one, I guess, as far as to try and use. Let me see if there's anything strange with this one. I'm noticing an OBJ0 for the shape name. Let me look at this one that we've got in here currently that's from the shared folder. I want to take a look at this one real quick. Okay, this one's an... Oh! Okay, so it's probably animated objects because it has the rotating... it's got the rotating blades. But that shouldn't affect, I guess, as far as it being able to rotate based on the path file. That's what I don't get. So there's nothing really all that more special in the fact that it does have the animated blades, and that's where this animated objects comes in. Nothing else special about it. Yeah, I might have to pick at Rachel James's brain. Oh, you did Wingfoot, because I know you got that one working just fine. Yeah, the animated blades are fine, but I think what looks kind of funky on that one is it doesn't have any what do you call them as far as the landing skids. It's the only thing I find it weird. So if we want it to land, it's going to be like landing right on its belly. Kind of weird. That may just be me though. Okay, let's I already saved that, right? Let's save it again just to make sure. Yeah, we already did save it. We're gonna go check this out though. Yeah, we were just confirming as far as which files are in there, which have to be taken out, which could be in there. Cool. All right, let's load this up. Oh crap, that's not what I wanted. That is not what I wanted to do. What was that? Shoot, give it a second here. I opened another instance of Sandbox by mistake. Yeah, I don't mind the animated blades either. I just think it looks kind of weird without having anything for it to land on, except its belly. All right, load up the sim. Here we go. Okay. We having fun yet? I know I am. All right, let's go and do single race because that's the only time that one does load. Okay. So amongst the other things you need to update, Torch, this is just one of those other things, I guess. Yep, there it goes. Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and drive that. Where'd it go? There it is. I can see it. Oish. Okay. So we could probably have it go a little bit further up and see how it turns. Yeah, it's still sharp that way. I don't know why it's doing such a sharp turn. We're doing a sharp turn coming back. But it does come back. And we'll see how it lands. Whoops, my bad. I'm trying to use my other key. That's funny. Make my way over this way. Hey, gummit. Set it. Turn around. There we go. Wrong way. Yeah, I don't know why he's still making that sharp on the third waypoint. Pretty sharp. Seems to take off pretty nice though. There he goes. I want to see how he ends here. Pretty cool. More wagon. He's probably gonna get there before. I can change the speed of positions, but I hate to make it too fast because then it gets. Hey, Gummit, thanks for that. I don't know how much y'all missed there. So I just came to the conclusion. Yeah, I forgot when I'm, again, using those controls to get first for the cam hack. Appreciate it. So what I was saying, I didn't mind, I guess, as far as that little bit of a whip-de-doo, I guess, as far as that he does for taking off. But I want to adjust the one as far as when he gets to the point where he comes back. That's a little very noticeable. I want to smooth that out, and then also change the height, because obviously he's still under the track when he lands. You want to make him visible, not go under the track. So we raise that up. So I think at I gotta look in Sandbox here again and see which one it is. I think it's this third one here that we may have to increase. So these might have to both be 240 and then 100. Thinking. Let me go back in here. So that should be this point 79. Let me look. So minus 533. No, minus 558.58. Yeah, so it's about right there. Yep, so it is this one here is where he's whipping. So I think what I'm going to try and do is make this a bigger radius here. Do a 240. Yeah, let's try this on a 240. That should hopefully smooth that out there, so it should make it... So he does a really sharp turn, taking off. Now we'll see what this does anyway. In theory, in my head, this makes sense. Because it's supposed to make that bigger instead of smaller on that third waypoint. Well, second waypoint, I guess, because it goes 0, 1, 2. Alright, so let's do save. Here, copy this guy. Excuse me. And enter game track directory. Alright, just overwrite that. Now let's go back in there and check that one out. I think the stream froze. It's not showing on my end. I got the... So was it just your browser? This would be about the time it would do it too. Yeah, so far I got the stream up there and it's still showing it's good. So it was just your browser? Clock's working. Alright, yeah, the uptime. Yeah, that was my indication on my... I got the stream up on my end too. That's what I see, the uptime is still going. We're over 3 hours already. Holy smokes. Wow. Time flies and me having fun. Alright, so we're going to go into single race. I want to get a little bit of racing on this thing here too. Check out the track. We haven't been able to do that yet. That's where we'll end, at least anyway. Get this helicopter tweaked, at least anyway. Oh wow, what did that... That thing is glitch out. Looked to me like it glitched out. Alright, hold on. Go ahead and drive. Yep, there he is. Oh, I missed it where he turned. Dang it. Okay, no problem. Heading back. Alright, we're gonna go back over this way. It's above the track now. I put him in a... So yeah, that part's... Let's see how he does when he turns around. Kind of in the sun there, but should be a little bit smoother this time, I'm hoping. Nope, he's still pretty sharp. Dang it. You know, whips around really. Dadgummit, I don't know how to smooth that out. Going the wrong way with it, I think. Trying to get there. There, stay there. Stay there. Oh, he already took off. You son of a gun. We can always put a... I would just wait for him to come back. Yeah, it might be a little too high now. Oh wait. Whoops. You got me? Yeah, I just noticed I shut the mic off. My bad. Dang it. Might need to use a different key, I guess, as far as for cam hack. I do have the ability to do that. I can use a different key. I hate when that happens. He's coming back. I just want to get confirmation on how high he is. Ground. See him from down here. Coming. He's down there. Dang it. I don't even remember turning that off this time. Yeah, I was just kind of looking at the numbers right now, but yeah, it definitely turned it off again. Those sound alerts come in handy for that type of stuff, doesn't it? Yeah, the only thing I was doing is just, wasn't really saying much, just confirming these units for 1G. Four, where's 4 at? We're in the middle here. Somewhere in the middle. We're right about there. Okay, so that one's fine. Edit is this one right now. Let's copy this, and we're going to change the values. Go to, going to be 3. This is just a comment right here after the semicolon, so it doesn't matter. Doesn't really read that. It's just more or less for remarks. So we do have to change this to 5. This way. Now, what we want to do is we got minus 558.58. So let's go here. Minus 558. Okay, so right about in there. So to do a turnaround, I want to put one minus 548, 7, 548, 7. 548, so not much X, but 1, 2, what did I? Let's do 182. Send them out just a little bit farther. So we'll do 182. And then we also want to make sure we adjust this down to a 4. Okay. Tweak that bad boy out. Alright, so let's do save. And move that out of our edit folder to game tracker. Okay. Paste. Yes, we want to overwrite that. Go back in there and check that one out. When all else fails, when you can't get that radius, I guess it'd be nice and smooth. I guess as far as the turnaround, just add another waypoint. Go. And go into single race. And we should see it initially take off the gate. There he goes. Oh wow, kind of glitches out there, I guess, as far as I know. How the hell does he do that? That second waypoint. The heck did you do that? Now I don't know if it's just because of this camera angle. It could be. Could be just because of this camera angle. Probably like really close, I guess, to the actual where the camera's at. Bye. Let's go to drive. That. Shoot, I missed him looping around, dang it. I'm gonna stay down here for now. Catch him on the return. I want to see how this looks on the turnaround. So what you should do is you should go closer to the tower on the Speedway Club, going towards turn 1, and then you should go loop around back behind the Speedway Club and come back that direction. The way I put those waypoints. But it should be a lot smoother. It shouldn't be as whippy. We'll find out. All this in an effort just to kind of tweak on the path file, so you got something to apply as far as once you bring that helicopter directly into the track. Alright, so nice and smooth. Don't be whippy. Oh wow, it totally disappeared. What the heck was that? Oh wow, that is not what I expected. That is not what I expected. Let me go over there and take a better look at that. I did not expect that to happen. The heck was up with that? Kind of like totally glitched out. That's my button to rev the engine too. Yeah, that was weird. So he should have been able, like I said, he kind of did do that, but he kind of disappeared and then came back. Wasn't expecting that. There he goes. So he's going exactly where he should. Why does he disappear? The heck? And comes back. Alright, that ain't right. Definitely got to fix that. Okay, well, let me head on over to I just corrected it. So obviously we don't have that one right. He disappears and it shouldn't do that. No. Oops. I think I muted the mic again. Yep, it sure did. Son of a biscuit. Why do you do that? Hold on. I don't even have anything running, man. Why do you do this? Oh my god. This is getting ridiculous on Saturdays. Why are you doing this? I don't have anything running. I don't know what the heck. I mean, I do have max up, which I'm not even going to use. If I can turn that off. I don't know if that's going to free up the deal or not. Why do you do this? I'll try and free up some resources here, folks. Hopefully, oh, got me still. Dead. Audio should still be coming through, I hope. I don't understand why. I don't know what's causing everything to peg out. I don't get this. Am I not able to stream longer than whatever, I guess, on Saturday? I don't get that. Out of that. I'm trying to close as much stuff down as I can. It's definitely on my end. The CPU is pegged, and I don't know why. Oh my goodness. Let me end this. Let me exit out. It's not the game. Why does it keep pegging out? Did this last week too. Not even running that other bot, so it's not even. I can't even say it's that now. Really hoping that was the problem. Apparently it was not. Why are you pegged out? Let me try and start and stop the stream here. Really doesn't make any sense. Hopefully I can come back really quick. I'm gonna keep the uptime going. It's still going on my end, but obviously not on the stream, as far as on the channel.